listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenny and his satanic assistant, Alex Houdini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
I don't know, Alex. If you ever have tested that theory out,
Vomiting.
We're going to church without burning?
Yeah.
No,
Wait a second.
rather...
You got married. You got married in a church, and what happened to that?
No, it was a chapel. It wasn't a church.
It was, oh well, chapels. it's this religious sacred sort of.
I was getting hot under the collar a little bit, but I was sort of
getting hot
15 minutes.
And that wasn't because you're satanic or anything. It's just like, oh my God, I'm signing my life away. I'm getting married.
Yeah.
He got married to Satan.
How's it going, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
All right.
It's 2 a.m. in where you are, and I want to thank you. I know it's pretty early, late, however you want to look at it.
That's right, as long as you book me up in advance.
Yeah, I know it was kind of short notice too. Sorry about that. But
you let me know, with a bit of notice, so I don't mind.
Yeah. What I was gonna say though, Alex, it is fucking hot.
It is.
I don't know. Is it hot? I honestly feel like I'm in hell here. It's fucking humid here.
Turns on air conditioner.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the basement, so I have to wear a sweater because it's still pretty cool down here. But yeah, it's pretty hot.
I mean, what's it like there, Matt?
Well, it was hot yesterday. It's been chucking it down with rain and thundering all today, so it's been quite cold.
I think they're I think clocking the humidity at 31 Celsius here. Humid.
It's ball sweating.
Yeah, you think? So Matt, how you doing? How is everything going, man?
Yeah, not too bad, apart from the idiots. Yeah, all good.
I noticed that. I noticed that there's some I don't know, some shit going on, but I haven't really been.
Some silly people.
But you gotta love it. There's tons of silly people out there. I know we've had our share of them. We've had our share of them.
Yeah, the trolls.
The trolls.
The people who got multiple accounts. So when you block one, they come back in. But it's like, I just blocked you, and then you block them, and then they come back in, and again, and again. All that sort of nonsense as well. Your usual shit. Like. Who does that sort of stuff? But yeah.
Well, I know I had one guy, and this wasn't really, it was online, but it was harassing. His emails were all literally yelling, all uppercase lettering. And his spelling was absolutely atrocious. I know where you
put it in uppercase.
I know. I know where you work, and I'm going to show up. It's like, come on, seriously.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You do know who I'm talking about.
Okay, it is, yeah.
But I mean, the levels that these people go to, it just it makes you wonder why. I mean, what do they get other than just, I don't know.
Maybe it's a sexual erotica thing.
Yeah. Sexual erotica thing.
Somebody wrote to me and said, hey, I really like your channel and like pages and pages of stuff. And at the end, but I got your address. So is it all right if I send you some stuff? And I'm like, really? You've tracked me down, have you? Okay, cool. I don't really dig that, but hey.
I don't get it, because I mean, a lot of the shit that you post, and I don't mean it shit, obviously. You post some really, really interesting stuff. And actually, the one I was watching not too long ago was what was it? The elevator riding or whatever the hell it was. That one guy, and he was getting all these young kids doing the same thing and totally, desecrating like these abandoned places.
Yeah,
and causing people to. I guess we're even talking about death, right? I mean, people have died from doing shit like this.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking children and teaching them how to vandalize buildings and break lifts, so it costs thousands of pounds for the engineers to come and make it right. And this is all like, this guy actually believes that the people who own these buildings are selfish because they don't want him in there, you know, like reprogramming their lifts. Selfish. It's selfish.
And I'm watching some of the stuff they're throwing down these lifts. It's like, I don't get it.
Mm,
Let's throw a chair down there.
yeah.
Let's throw, I noticed what, generators or something. There's some of them were pushing like generators right down there. And
yeah.
wow.
And then
Pushing generators down the lift?
We're talking about heavy fucking things.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then climbing up cranes and sort of like, hey, this is my first crane climb. Turns it on, and then instead of, you know, like generally when you jump in a car or on a bike or things, you tend to have a little bit of mechanical sympathy. You sort of like gently sort of start. No, it's like grab hold of the stick. Here we go. Wham! Full left. Full right. Oh, I nearly hit another crane with this crane. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
It's not funny. I don't find it funny.
And then there's, there's kids reprogramming the lifts and what they were saying, what they're supposed to be doing, and with their iPad or their MacBooks or whatever,
connecting in leads into the lifts and changing all the settings, changing the messages on the screen so they've got obscene messages coming out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, even one of these idiots, which he forgets he put in his videos, reprogramming a lift so when you press the emergency button, it rings somebody else's phone. Well, they've done that to my phone. Yeah, somebody in a lift going, I'm stuck in a lift. I'm like, well, I can't help you.
What do you want me to do?
Because he's pressed the emergency button and it's rung my phone. And you're very stupid, you see, boys. They're probably watching now because this little idiot watches all these things where I say I'm going to be. So you're very silly because you forgot you put it in a video, which I have, which has gone to the police. Yes.
So when you yourself go to these places, I mean, what do you have any protocols that you have in play that you follow personally, and you like other people to sort of follow while being in these places?
Well, be respectful, you know, don't steal, don't smash. There are certainly people out there that are causing some major damage. I mean, 3 buildings went up in one night on the 13th, right? They're all places I've explored. So I think there's a message for myself. We're burning these buildings. The message is, hey, Matt, what are you going to do about that? Because we're going to burn all these buildings. And my message to you is, yeah, just keep burning them all, burn more, because the more you burn when you get caught, the more years you're going to do in jail. So keep on burning. I don't give a shit. You know, you're not making me suffer. You're making these people who live in these places and the people who own these buildings suffer. You're not making me suffer. You suffer yourself in jail. Yeah.
What about health sort of things, like, places that might have asbestos or stuff like that? Do you check for shit like that, or going
asbestos? I'm not too worried about, really. No, I think, you've got to be cracking it off the walls and breaking it up, and I think in general stuff blows out of places, and the moisture kind of beds it down. Unless you're kicking up the floor and kicking dust into the air, I don't think it's such a problem.
Yeah.
But that's just me, I mean, other people wander around with masks on because they're paranoid about it. I'm not, but I think people should probably walk around with masks on, but I don't give a shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, like some of the locations that you've been in have been really, really cool and, historic. Like, we're talking about some really historic stuff. Like, is it really hard to get into a lot of these locations?
No,
not at all. Like,
not at all. I mean, if there's somewhere that you can't get into, we have to walk away, and we've had to do that a few times. But I mean, most of these places, I mean, if you walk around them enough and if you climb up, and sometimes the roof is the best way to get in, because the sides of buildings will often be secured, but they don't look up.
Yeah.
So, it's get a ladder, go in on floor 2, I mean, kids, they're trying to stop kids, I think, a lot of the time with these precautions, bricking up the walls, putting boards on them or silver sheets on the doors and windows. But, kids don't have a ladder, so, yeah.
Makeshift ladders.
Oh.
Oh, let's use that as a ladder. Wait, we can stack these and they would make a good ladder.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
milk crates.
Milk crates. Yeah. Milk crates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're sturdy. They're sturdy.
Very
They
sturdy.
work. They work really well.
Yeah.
You
I've
might
done
be.
that. They can be a bit wobbly trying to get up on crates sometimes. So
Oh yeah.
stacking pallets is a good one. You know, you can
Yeah,
stack about
stacking pallets.
20 pallets and climb up the side and it wobbles, but you can get it into a
Ah,
window, you know. Yeah.
that pallets
Works.
are they're amazing. They're sturdy. Well, the craziest place that you've been in, the craziest place that you can remember.
I really like the spit forts, which are out in the sea between Portsmouth and the Isle of Wight.
Okay.
These are sort of big Victorian forts, which were made because they were sort of thinking that France was going to invade. So they built all these forts out in the sea, and they go below sea level. Some of them, you know, they've actually sort of been built into little rocks, sort of bits on the so you actually are inside the walls of the fort and the sea is up level with you, you know, when you're inside them, which is interesting. But they're so big, they're really crazy, really spooky. And you know, you could stay there, you know, you could sleep there overnight. Oh, we got a spider coming in off the ceiling to say
So
hello.
you know, with your past with the paranormal, like I mean, was that something that got you into the urbex, or was it the other way around?
Um, I've been looking into things since a kid, really. You know, climbing
Yeah.
up scaffolding was an early one for me. You know, just finding my way into places by going on the roof. It's always a classic. You know, if they're doing work on a building, there's probably going to be a hole in the roof somewhere. You know, climbing up the scaffolding is always a good way in. So I've been
But
doing it since a kid.
yeah, but I mean, you know, the sort of the paranormal aspects of things.
Hmm. Paranormal. I used to read books when I was a kid. I used to have. I used to subscribe to a thing called the Unexplained magazines, which really, when there weren't magazines on the paranormal, but you could buy this kind of book that was in bits, and you had to
Mhm.
buy about 100 of them to get the books to actually put the compendiums together. And
Yeah.
then you actually had something that was a book and it had a big index, and they only gave you the index as well at, like, you know, 150, you know, you get the index at the end, so you could actually search through it for things, which was interesting. But yeah, that was where I kind of started looking at stuff. And I've always been interested in books on the paranormal, UFOs, that sort of stuff. But my real interest came when I was driving across from where I lived in
Mhm.
the Rhondda Valleys, across a mountain road down into the next valley, and I saw something triangular shaped on the mountain. It looked like a fire at first because it was orange and it was shimmering, but then I realized it was shimmering rather than having licking flames. You know, it was just a
Yeah.
shimmering object. And that kind of changed my perspective on things, because I didn't remember that I'd actually seen it for about 5 days, which was really weird, because on the night I can remember looking at it quite intently, stopping the car, reversing up. And then I just drove on, did what I had to do that night, forgot about it completely. And then 5 days later, it was literally like somebody chucked a bucket of water in my face. And I was like, whoa, hang on. What was that thing I saw 5 nights ago? And I'm like, why am I only thinking about this now? What was that? And
Huh.
that kind of started me on a, you know, I don't say that I was abducted or anything. You know, I kind of, that's the thought that comes to mind, is like, why would you think 5 days later about it? But I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand how that mechanism works. Why would I forget about it and then only remember about it 5 days later? I don't know. I still don't
I-
know to this day.
Somebody
So,
mentions the Borley Rectory. Yeah, that's
mm.
a notoriously haunted place. What about you with some of the locations that you've urbexed, and have they has any of them ever, like, sort of, well, okay, something's going on here, sort of, this is weird.
I've seen a lot of stuff over the years. I mean, the UFO thing got me into kind of doing seance stuff,
Hmm.
and also going to a few spiritualist churches. So I sort of just went along and listened in and saw what I thought was going on, and I found that quite interesting. I believe that the people there were answering questions I was asking in my head. I was asking a specific question, and the people were there were coming to me and answering it. So that was really something. But it took a long time of going to those churches before things like that started happening. It wasn't immediate. So I would say to people, don't be too hasty with your kind of, expecting immediate results with this stuff, because, you've got to be very patient, and it takes a long time to kind of, get results with things you're looking for, if you do at all. If you're, hopefully you'll be lucky, but yeah.
Maybe, hey, Alex, maybe Matt might be interested in maybe a live seance on the show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
A live seance or live Ouija board. That'd be hard. No, a Ouija board would that would
be difficult.
Way difficult. A virtual Ouija board. We'd have to put in like the middle here. Okay, put your fingers together. Yeah, I don't know if that would work too. That'd be different. But so with seances though, like, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think they are effective? Do you think they're a real sort of aspect of something that's just something? Well, most people go, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's satanic. That's evil.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that, hey, I'm not a Bible basher. I don't believe necessarily that the way that the Bible is written is the real way of things. But I mean, if people who kind of believe in the Bible, who would then believe in good and evil and maybe Satan and God, well, who in the Bible created the universe? God. Not Satan, God. And did God give people souls? Yes. So therefore, the whole mechanism of ghosts and the afterlife is all something that God created. So why should people fear that?
Exactly. Lee says,
Don't forget the trouser incident. Yeah, I had my trousers pulled down one day by a playful spirit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, this is snuff, by the way. I always do snuff.
Yeah, good old snuff. Yeah.
Drink
and snuff. Drink and snuff. Drink snuff.
Yeah.
So along with the Urbex stuff, and I know we sort of talked about it before when you were on a little bit. You have a history with crop circles too.
Yeah.
Now, what was the extent of the crop circle sort of scenario?
Well, I've gone from being a non-believer, quite skeptical as a child, but also, I was very scared of the dark, very, very sort of, I used to have a lot of nightmares as a kid, and I've kind of gone through, I think it's kind of like self-initiation to kind of be able to handle these concepts of UFOs, the spirit world. I'm comfortable with that now. I'm comfortable with all of these things, and I think I kind of taught myself to be able to go out in the dark by myself. I used to go walking around forests at night and, up on tops of mountains and hills and things. I used to like it. I think it's really serene and nice. Didn't used to use a torch, just used to use my eyes and just walk around. Used to like it. I think it's good. But, it's kind of like as a child, I was like really scared of the dark, really scared of any noises, dark alleyways, anything like that. So I think that a lot of what I do is kind of like pushing myself, also training myself to be more used to things and more comfortable with things that necessarily aren't bad, aren't negative, but a lot of people interpret those things as negative. They're scared by the concept of ghosts, they're scared by the dark, they're scared by UFOs, they're scared by noises outside the house, and I think the night is a great time. It's a wonderful time. It's a peaceful time, actually.
Most people go, well, hell, why do people go out and explore this sort of the paranormal world at night? And people just don't understand. It's exactly that. It's quiet. It's easier to control the environment. If you're taking sort of readings, EVP or whatnot, you can sort of control that a little bit more than say during the day with all the surrounding noise, the traffic and whatever else that might be going on in the area that you're at. I mean, plus, it's just peaceful.
Yeah, it's nice. But I think you have to condition yourself to kind of, enjoy these environments, and I suppose it's part of growing up. Your brain changes, the way you
Yeah.
look at the world changes. But I've become comfortable with a belief in the afterlife, that there is something else, that we're not alone, and I think that gives me comfort. Again, it's not something to be feared. I think it's actually something that we should be all glad that there's something else to go on to. But you can't preach it to people, because who would believe it, unless they'd experienced it? So it's got to be something you come to on your own terms if you're going to believe in that stuff.
Trevor says, I'm scared of taxes.
Yeah.
I think everyone is.
Yeah. Do they have taxes in the afterlife? That's
you probably
a grim
would
thought.
do
Yeah.
it. One of the theories that I like to believe is, much about what you mentioned there, Matt. That there is an afterlife, and I believe it was ITC that was doing some research and some audio work, and they were able to apparently make contact with somebody who had been on their team that passed away, and apparently had made contact through audio, and basically was saying that, the afterlife, how we view it, is not really the afterlife. It's more or less real life, and that it's the next stage in our sort of, evolution, if you will, where we are actually right now in a sort of state of purgatory. And I'm like, well, this kind of life, I can believe it sometimes, with the shit that goes on, like those trolls.
Well, yeah, maybe they're in their own purgatory, because I think you kind of get back what you give out. So I mean, if you're living in a self-created hell because you're not happy with your life, then probably everything around you is hell. Whereas if you can accept and be happy with what you're doing, then I think everything else can be quite nice. But yeah, I think I'm in hell sometimes when I'm driving down the road and people are trying to run me off the road, and they're going out the window at me, and like, yeah, what world are you living in? Yeah.
Yeah, it's some of these drivers today. That's it's the condition of reality of things. It's funny. Again, one of the things that you put up on your channel there, you're going to I can't remember the name of the place, but you guys had been pulled over by a cop. And you guys,
happens all the time for
yeah,
me, but yeah,
you kept filming and everything else. And I think what the one guy says, do you want me to turn it on? No, keep it going, it's fine. It's, he probably watches his channel anyways. Right. And then sure as shit, the guy, the cop comes in the window and you're talking with him and all this kind of stuff. And the cool thing about it was you were having an average conversation with this guy. You weren't lying to him. You're straight up with him, telling me exactly what you want to do, what you're doing, and you got good results out of it. And I find that every time I've dealt with the cops on that level, I just tell them straight. I'm a straight shooter, but I'm not. Why lie about it? I don't get it. You lie about it, and
I mean, they might be kind of like weirded out by what you're doing. But I mean, at the end of the day, they do have the power in that moment. So I don't think pissing them off can help. I mean, I have had moments in my life where I've literally been shouting, like, F you, like at the police officer, and he's going like, what's your problem? You seem to be a bit angry. I'm like, I'm fucking pissed off with being pulled over all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. Which is the story of my life, unfortunately. I mean, I speak to a lot of people who say, and I know it's different for you guys in the States, because like police are a lot more prolific, but like here in the UK, a lot of my friends, they say like, I've never been pulled over. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Yeah, welcome to my world. They got my number and they pull me over a lot. So yeah, if I was doing anything wrong, they would be doing me, multiple times over, because I'm always getting pulled over, and if I go to a place, I'm like, oh, they'll know I'm in town because my registration's coming up on the ANPR. So watch out, we could get pulled. I mean, I was up in the north of England, and like here we got pulled. It's like everywhere we go. So I'm always like, if I see the police, I usually pull off the road and hide, because I know they're going to pull me over. So I hide. And I wait for them to go, and then I come out and I carry on, because I just don't need it,
So how many cops have you given them a secret vault sticker?
A couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some, sometimes I burn them off.
Yeah.
I just, because I've got a thing, I just have this like spidey sense that car behind me is going to be a cop car, so I end up doing like ridiculous speeds to get away from them. Because if they're going to go that fast, I mean, if I'm going to do like 100, 110, and they're still getting closer to me, it's not a good scenario, is it? So, I mean, if I see a car behind me, the chances are it's late at night, it's going to be a cop car. Put your foot down, get the hell out of there, save yourself a lot of trouble. But yeah.
Now, obviously, since having the channel up and going on YouTube, and you've got quite a lot of viewers, obviously, a lot of people follow.
There's a lot of nice people out there. Yes, there's a
few
interesting
and we're going to get to that, obviously, and because what we noticed, and it only takes that the wrong person to sort of deal with, and then all of a sudden, bang, shit just blows up in your face. And we've been through it, not here on YouTube, thankfully, but on other mediums that we've been on, and having to deal with people that just want to sort of train wreck a good thing, your thing that you're doing, and you just, I mean, how do you deal with that? I mean, I know one person in particular that we had to deal with, a quote unquote bishop, a bishop that was a notorious cyber stalker that was ready to let the hell of fury upon us, and he was doing his best to do it online to discredit us beyond belief.
Are we talking a real bishop? Yeah.
He claims.
Oh, so he thought he was.
He claims, and you know what? Well, I'll say his name. I'm not afraid to say his name, because you'll probably be familiar with him. Bishop Sean Manchester.
Oh, Sean Manchester. I kind of, you know what? When you started saying that, I was kind of thinking then. But have you challenged, what he's talking about then in some way? Have you looked into it and kind of been critical, or
I've been very critical, and I've even asked, even before all this, I don't know, the name barrage and all that kind of stuff that came out. It's just like, look at Sean, we'd love to have you on the show to hear your side of the story, and for those who may not know, the Highgate Vampire, a lot of people are out there familiar, especially if you're living in the UK. You know all about the notorious duel between David Ferrant and Sean Manchester, and we had David on several times. In fact, that's who was doing the intro voice, the Davros sort of thingy. But we've invited Sean on several times to come on and say, hey, look, we'd love to hear your side of the story, but because we had David on first, he decided to just go bonkers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he didn't like that at all.
I can kind of understand where he might be coming from. He might think that it's going to be a canned hunt, as it were.
No, not at all. I did not form an opinion. I was genuinely interested in wanting to know more about the Highgate Vampire, other than what I had read and seen, obviously from his books and David's books. But he automatically thought that exactly. I guess a witch hunt.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's hard, isn't it? Because you've got to make a decision. Is it you feel the vibe, feel the vibe. I've turned down a lot of people who've asked me to go on shows, I just don't get a good vibe about it,
Yeah.
and I don't even know these people, and I might be being unfair, but I'm like, I just don't think it's worth it sometimes, it really isn't, for me, to be speaking to people, unless I really have kind of been, handed to these people because through people who say, no, they're good guys, they're good guys. So as with yourselves, I kind of got to know about you through Gareth, and Gareth said you guys are good, and that's good enough for me, But
Well,
when you get a cold call from somebody, it's always a risk, it's
Well, it's funny you say that, because Gareth was we had always talked about this, and Gareth would say, well, I know a few guys you got to have on the show. You got to have Matt on this show. Matt who? Matt Williams. He has a channel called the Secret Vault. I said, yeah, I'll have to look into that. And sadly, it didn't sort of happen until after he'd left us. But I mean, that's part of Gareth's legacy, right? That people have stuck together, and it's I know it's been great meeting a lot of people that was effectively in his world, his because I have to say, yourself included, obviously, very intelligent people that have a lot to say and a lot to share, and it's been really cool. Been really cool.
I mean,
man.
I also get asked to do a lot of things by university students and things like this, and and if I've got the time, I will. But I mean, like I kind of got asked about 6 times so far this year. I don't know why. Whether it's to do with this is when they've got to get their papers done, and I kind of said okay to the first 2, and then the rest I said no to, because I'm like, I'm getting bored. I'm getting bored of this now. Yeah.
Well, it's neat, because I remember being there's been a few times, actually, a few times that I've been invited in to do a guest speaking sort of presentation at to high schools. And I always find it fascinating, because the questions that these kids ask are just like, wow, these are high school kids that you figure would not be interested in this kind of stuff, but they're so fascinated with it, and they're not stupid, man. They're very intelligent, man, when it comes to this.
I got asked to speak in person at a private school somewhere, and I was talking about getting into military bases and underground bunkers and things like this. And I was thinking, why do they want me to speak to these kids? I thought it's weird, because I would have thought they would have wanted to sort of, get these kids into like jobs and not be talking to weird people, I don't consider myself weird, but I would consider that from a parental point of view and from a school point of view, it's all about the straight and narrow, get these kids on the road to kind of, jobs, and, don't be messing around with weird stuff, and they did. They invited me in to kind of, speak to the kids. And I thought, well, it's interesting, because it's almost like they're playing with, different people in life. You might have like a sports person come in, talk to them about sports. They've got somebody who's like maybe the fringe, like a weird guy, a fringe guy, so they would get a balance of knowing what's out there from a debate point of view, and ask. I like the idea of it, but I didn't think schools could be that open.
I know, I know. It blew my mind, and I think a lot of it has to do. Well, I know from my experience, a lot of it has to do with the teacher. The teacher has a background, fascination, interest in the sort of scenario, and they're like, well, hey, maybe we should bring somebody in to talk about it. And they find somebody, and they're like, hey, do you want to come in? I think one of the most awkward things that I'd ever had to do a presentation for was a retired business person club. I don't know. It's sort of like a Lions club. I don't know. Like some people will go, it's a conspiracy cult. You know,
The Freemasons.
yes, the Freemasons or something, right? And,
Yeah.
and these
Were you asked to pop out of a cake?
yeah, elderly businessmen, and I'm like, okay, hey, I
Did they
guess
make you
so.
wear a fez?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I asked, I like, well, I don't understand these people. Like, these are retired business people. Like, they're, not necessarily all wealthy, or I'm sure they are, but they're. I don't get it. Why the paranormal? But I went in, I did my spiel, and they were just like, wow, we'd love to have you back. And I'm like, okay, hey, whatever works.
I gave a talk at a bowls club, like lawn bowling.
Oh, no way.
Lawn bowling, and it
Yeah.
was like elderly people, elderly people at a bowls club. I mean,
Yeah.
and I thought it was cute, the idea of being asked to speak to elderly people about, UFOs and weird stuff. So yeah, I probably wouldn't want to do it every week, but
No.
I'll do anything once. Yeah.
I mean, it would be interesting to make a living out of that, though. I think, just, I mean, some of the places and things that, like I know, some places that have invited you in, they'd also go, well, hey, would you like to investigate this place? Are you kidding me? Right? Yeah, damn right. I've been trying to get in here for years.
Can you imagine getting the old people doing a Ouija board? Like, would you be asked back? I don't know.
That would so be me when I'm retired.
Well, that's Alex. Yeah, it's funny because I was watching a YouTube video. I think it was American. I don't know why, but it was an 83-year-old man, and he was doing what that? I can't think of the band, that metal band, and he was singing the song. Oh my god, I can't even think of the song. But I mean, I'm like, here's this 83-year-old guy, and he's just belting it out like he's 20 odd years old, and people are just like, completely blown away. So it wouldn't surprise me that you would easily be able to get them to do a Ouija board. Because they've seen it, they've done it all, and hey, I'm willing to try it. Why not? Let's do it.
I mean, they're closer to the spirits than most of us, aren't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, why not try it?
we got to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Pay it forward a little. But
these people are practically dead. Maybe they can teach us something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe we might get some good rates while we're over there. Huh? Maybe we'll have to. We'll get a place of residence real cheap. I don't think you have to pay that. Yeah. Again, it's like you said. Do they have to pay taxes in the afterlife? So, anything that you have looked into, has it like terrified you? Like, have you been terrified before?
I think yes. I've got to remember where. I was pretty scary at the most haunted place in Bristol, which was interesting because we were sitting there in the dark, kind of doing like almost like a seance session. We were asking, the spirits to come in, could you make a noise, or could you let us know you're here? And like the sensations we were getting, like the room went cold, and then you get like a woof, like so like something passed across us, like a cold coming across the room, and then doors were slamming, and it was quite that got me going. It was like, there's something here, something is with us, I could feel it. It was tangible. That was interesting. Other things that probably would frighten a lot of people, I get kind of excited by these days. I mean, like, I had my trousers pulled down by a ghost. I mean, like, I suppose some people might be frightened by that sort of thing, but I thought it was great. I was like, yeah, wow, do it again, do more, and I'm kind of like that now. I mean, I've kind of reprogrammed myself to kind of react differently in these situations. I mean, I saw a weird thing one night on top on a hill. I saw these figures that were dancing around somebody who was on the top of the hill. I don't know if the person was there, and I don't know if these figures were there, but like I think because they shrunk in height as well, and I was like, whoa, what am I looking at here? Am I looking at like spirits or something else? What am I seeing? My reaction was, I got to go up there. I've got to go there. And I was on my own. And I've got to go there. I've got to go there now. So I was running towards it, running to go and see it. I wanted to see what it was, and I think a lot of people might be, scared and running the other way, maybe. But I really tried to kind of reprogram myself from saying, don't run away from a noise. Don't run away from a strange light. Don't run away from a strange feeling. Embrace it, go towards it, try and make contact with it, speak to it. And
a lot of the shows today do the exact opposite of what you're doing. They go in to investigate a supposed haunting, and the first noise they hear, they go screaming out the door,
running the other way.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean,
Dude,
I think it's what you're there for. I mean, you don't run away from it. It's what you're there for,
right?
But of course, I suppose that's where the views are at. It's the shock, it's the scare, it's the running. But I mean, if I saw a figure, I'd be like, come, come. And I would be like, don't take your eyes off it. Don't blink, don't take your eyes off it. Just, and will it, come on, come. Because I know I've turned away and turned back and the bloody things have gone. I've done that in the past, so don't take your eyes off it. That's a philosophy I've got, is don't take your eyes off it.
Well, you could bring Alex. Alex is a ghost deterrent, so I mean, he'd scare anything away.
Yeah, you definitely won't catch anything if I'm there.
Exactly. Hey, what about locations you'd like to go into? Like, I mean, there's probably, you've been to shitloads, but I mean, come on, there's got to be tons there that you'd love to get in and look around.
I don't like doing spirit stuff on my own. Yeah, I got to be honest. I mean, I prefer to be in a group of people.
Yeah,
that can get a bit uncomfortable, I think, if you're on your own. I think your brain can play some tricks with you, a little bit more than I'm comfortable with. I'm comfortable out in the countryside, and I'm comfortable doing a load of things. But, yeah, when it comes to sort of dark urbex locations at night, I'd rather be in a group of people because I think it's safer. You could fall through the floor as well, which is like, but I've got a big respect. I've seen some people on YouTube. I've seen they go into these places and on their own, but I think that's pushing my limits myself personally as well. And if I filmed it, I think I'd not only be scaring the shit out of myself, I'd be scaring the shit out of the audience too, because I mean, yeah, I mean, I probably would react badly and have to get out of there then at that point, you see. So I would end up giving people that impression, is like, well, I'm scared. I think that there are some areas where I would rather be a couple of us. I suddenly, my whole perspective changes. If it's just one other person, I think it's a weird thing. You hear more, and you're more sensitive, and you're more on edge and alert when you're on your own. One more person, that just totally changes. It just all melts away, So
Todd says
buddy system, yeah, sketchy.
Yeah, or it could turn into something quite nasty. Depending. I mean, especially if that buddy you've never met before.
Yeah, I mean, my grandmother always used to say, it's an old saying, but I mean, you haven't got to worry about the ghosts. You've got to worry about the living.
Yep.
And I kind of think that some of these locations, I mean, I'm kind of worried about who's there, rather than what's there. So yeah,
exactly.
It makes perfect sense, because there's a lot of obviously homeless people that use buildings that to live, and you don't want to go in a situation where you just run into someone who's strung up on something and comes after you. You know what I mean? Especially if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, some people is just, you don't know their state of mind.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so
Yeah,
even
it's
to that
just-
extent. Yeah.
I mean, I've gone into places, and the owners is just like, they're off kilter. Okay, this guy is this guy gonna pull out a chainsaw anytime soon? You never know, man. It's just like Trevor. Trevor says, I met many weirdos while Bigfoot hunting. I just remember that one guy, Tom, I think his name. He's a well-known Bigfoot hunter in New York State there, and he would surprise people with bringing a gun along, and most people would go, "What the fuck do you need a gun for?" Well, you're dealing with Bigfoot. You never know what he's gonna do. What?
Well,
And these
true.
people,
I think it's kind of true.
It is, but I mean, most people are living in a fairy tale when they think about Bigfoot. They just don't know the stark reality of something like this. What they're dealing with.
Bigfoot could have some fangs and big claws and be a big bear as well, So
you never know. You never know.
Mm.
You never know.
I think when you're going out into the wilderness, especially not so much in the UK, but especially in the United States, you need a gun. You need a gun.
Again, it's not necessarily the monsters you have to be worried about. It's the people. I'm telling you, man. They're just like we're up here in Canada, and it's slightly fucking warped. But you go down, just look at just down in just across the border there. I don't know if you heard there, Alex.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Some fucking guy walked into a top supermarket and shot up, like fucking killed 10 people because of I don't know.
Well, here's the thing then, right? I can ask you a question because I mean, like I would be automatically afraid of like going to the deep south, like banjo country and like where everybody kind of like marries their sister. But like, does Canada have an equivalent of that?
Oh yeah,
where you don't want to.
They do. Not the deep south, but I mean, you do have areas in Canada that are like, you get Ontario, for instance, where we're the whole northern part of Ontario. There's not a lot of population, so you can go to some of these small towns and you're like, you're not very welcomed. You're not. But I don't know. In the deep south in the U.S., I've been to a lot of places that most people would be frightened to because of that stigma. But I've never, I don't think I've ever felt threatened at all. And maybe because I'm white, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's it, but I've never, I mean, there's certain areas that I've been to, like, I remember being in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, and, trying to get on to the Dixie Highway to get to a place, and the GPS is telling me to take this route, and I'm following this route, and it's not the right route to get onto the highway. And I'm going through this neighborhood, and I'm like, this is pretty sketchy here, man. But I said, I gotta fucking stop, and I gotta ask somebody, how to get onto the fucking highway. And I did. And everybody in the car with me, they're getting a little fucking nervous, but I'm like, hey man, I mean, that's the problem with people. That's the problem with a lot of people. They have this vision that if they stop the car, you're going to get killed or something. And yeah, there's a lot of fucking shit that goes on down there, but there's a lot of shit that goes on here too, but not quite to the extent of that. But I don't know. It is kind of getting bad here even. It is. Where we are anyways. But yeah, I mean, I find the deep south, a lot of areas, very welcoming, to be honest. A lot of people have said that they've been to places like, not necessarily deep south, but we're talking about, it is deep south, New Orleans, for instance. A lot of people are afraid to go to New Orleans because they hear a lot of bad stuff. And I mean, yeah, you got to watch yourself. I mean, you got to watch yourself anywhere, but I don't know.
It's all black magic in New Orleans, isn't it? It's all juju.
It's
Voodoo.
crazy, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I you know what? I fucking loved it there, man. I really did. I was only there for 3 or 4 days, but we stayed in an old French plantation home, and right next door was a fucking brothel.
That's why you loved it.
No, but it was hilarious because one night I was awoken at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just hear this fucking guy yelling at the top of his lungs and I'm looking out the window and I see he's got a woman, and one of his girls there by her neck, and he had a gun to her head, and I'm like, holy fuck, what the hell, and then
But aside from that, it's very safe.
I honestly felt I did. I mean, there was one point I didn't
have.
feel.
Maybe she didn't have a change of a 20 or something.
Yeah. I mean, I that was kind of like shocking because I'm not used to that kind of shit where I wasn't. But I mean, for the most part, I did not feel threatened. I really didn't. Even walking into a local bar pub just to get some food, just to get a feel for the area. And this wasn't, in the French Quarter, but just outside, just a Joe place. And you walk in there and everybody in the neighborhood's in there and they just like completely welcome you in and say, hey, where are you from? What are you doing? Like how long you here for? And then the next thing you know, they steal your wallet.
I was gonna say, how much money you got?
I'm just kidding. No, it was actually it was a good experience. I love New Orleans. I really did. But I mean, go ahead.
I'm gonna need to recharge my proton packs.
Yes,
I think,
yes.
because
We're gonna take a break here. Yeah, me too. Yeah, we're gonna take a break here. Yeah, go ahead, Matt. We're gonna take a break here in a sec. We got to take a radio station break. Identification. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on our YouTube channel. Of course, listening for those who are listening to us on the New Visions Radio Network. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Right. I'm gonna get my beer.
Go for it. And of course, I can't find it. Of course, I can't find it. I'll find it in a sec. But we'll keep going here before I got to cut off for the radio station. But I think in the second half, we'll open it up if anybody wants to join us on the panel here with Matt. If you have any stories and whatever else, if you want to have some experiences or whatever you want to share with us, by all means do so.
Share the stories.
Share the stories. Okay, let me see if I can find that video. I don't know where the hell I put it.
The video of the brothel.
The brothel video.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. You got to play this. Oh, here we go. What kind of fun are we gonna have here? Here, guys. Here we go. Welcome.
Oh no, could be anybody.
This is biblical Christological accounts. 40 win here with a request for Steve.
Hey, how are you?
Biblically, I'm doing good. So
Biblically, but no, like just how are you?
Biblically, I'm doing good.
Without saying biblically, how are you?
Biblically is perfectly valid to avoid confusion, as I'm appealing to objective veracity. So my request contra thou is to repeat the following phrase: "Our God of the Bible is perfect."
Is that it?
Is that it?
Biblically, yes.
Thank you. You can now go and fuck yourself. Goodbye.
Oh God, that's hilarious. And I don't know where the track went to. Alex took a break. Okay. I don't know. I usually have a stream thing that we usually play, but I don't know where the hell it went to. You gotta love it.
Is that Alex's photo, by the way?
That's Alex's photo. He's one of these vampire dudes, you know.
He looks different there. He's like very.
He's crazy.
Mm.
Okay, hold on. Where did I put this thing now? So Matt, you want to open this up? Bring some people on.
Yeah,
chat a little bit.
Who do you want to bring on?
I don't know. Let's see. Any of the maybe some of the urbexers in chat there.
Yeah,
Want to come on? Come on and talk.
I find it very hard to get anyone apart from the usual suspects that I know, to come on. So if anyone's there who's like, I know they may come on, but a lot of the people I've seen in the chat so far, probably Adrian's come on mine once before.
Yeah.
Is temporal transmission Barry?
That's Barry. Yeah.
Yeah. So he could come on because he's familiar with doing these things.
Yeah.
People are a bit shy sometimes. So
a little too shy.
Yeah. Daniel Ulloch. He doesn't mind coming on things, but I don't know if he's got a lot to add to the paranormal discussion.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be paranormal. We just figured because I know you've got a little bit of a history there with the paranormal and the UFO and the urbex thing. So
yeah,
when Alex comes back, I got to take a break here on the radio network. Okay, hold tight, Matt.
Okay.
I'm just gonna play this and do a short break. Let the station identification go on the network.
Are they doing adverts whilst we're doing this?
Yeah. While we're doing the visual aspect of things. I'm just gonna play that. Hold tight. And I usually just let this play. Okay. All right. When he comes back, I'm just going to take a quick break. But yeah, if anybody would wants to join us here, I'll put the link in chat. And there we go. Okay. Alex, you had your break.
I did.
Nice. I couldn't get the. I couldn't. Yeah, I have to take a quick break and refresh too. Just that. Make sure everything's good to go on the radio network. So just to give you an idea how many people are listening tonight, I just got a thing back, 153,000. Matt, a lot of people like you.
Really, 153,000
people are listening on the network.
Wow, my goodness. Is it my Welsh? Is it my Welsh accent? Perhaps I don't know.
I think so. It's either that or the fact that all three of us have no hair, but they can't see that because it's a radio. So
yeah, we've got the cloth moth. Hold on a second.
But we are actually.
Oh, look at there's Mr. John. How are you, John?
He hasn't got any hair as well. We've got 4 slappers now. It is literally an alien invasion look from Planet Slap, from Planet Chromium.
I'm not used to this angle. I'm used to you on the other side.
I changed the room around, see?
Oh, okay. How you doing, John?
Not so bad. How's everybody else?
Good.
Not too bad.
Can't complain.
You sounded like you've had a good time this evening, sir. Would I be correct in saying you've had a good time tonight? You're doing well.
That's better. I got sleazy on in the background. Sorry there.
Oh, he's got the sleazy. He's got a little bit of the sleazy cinema going on there.
All right,
sleazy cinema's online. Yeah, that's the problem.
I just need to finish this particular scene, folks.
Yeah, I couldn't get him off. Like I had one ear, like I got him blaring in one ear, like, and I couldn't hear what was going on. But when I saw it, like when I on the case.
Stoner Paranormal says Secret Vault always has good content. You're right, it does.
Yeah, I don't do too much of the paranormal stuff on my channel. I dip into it because it's something that I used to do for a lot for many years, but I know that there is an element of frustration in that you cannot always guarantee results with the paranormal. So I find that I don't want to do it every single show because I think people are going to get too excited and they expect results, you know, and they expect you to be delivering them something every week, you know, and some new thing, you know,
Yeah.
it has to be so contemporaneous and so up to date and so in their face. And I think I don't know, I don't know if I could deliver that on that level, you know.
Well, and
So
I think
yeah.
everybody they kind of get sick of it though too. They get tired of it because it just
Mm.
a lot of it just seems so monotonous and look, we've done this before. Give us something new, and it's really tough. Even these shows out
Yeah.
there, you know, somebody mentioned Most Haunted. Derek always faking shit. I mean, of course. I mean, it's called entertainment. Those are TV shows.
There's a lot of budgets involved. I mean, you know, they can't come away, which is what most of us would come away from a lot of events with very little, you know, or very sketchy, you know, did you hear something, didn't you, you know, and this sort of stuff. And, you know, television demands results, you know, it's like, so, yeah, it's unfortunate.
But have you noticed that there's nothing that will take Most Haunted now, television platform wise?
And why? Yeah, he's dead now. He passed away, Derek. Daniel was asking, but yeah, why is that? I mean, we obviously know what they're all about, but I mean, is it that bad with them?
I think they just they went off. They were on a channel called Life. I think it was Lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then they went on to Really, and then and now they're just on YouTube all the time. Like that's the only thing they ever do. And
but I mean, I mean, people get tired of it. I mean, people watch shows like or did watch shows like Ghost Hunters when it first came out religiously. And they would sit there and go, let's get, and they'd literally fucking argue about this show and saying, fucking end it already. It's the same shit over and over again. Well, what do you want? I mean, you gotta realize the content that they're dealing with is the paranormal. And you don't go into these places and bang, you're going to fucking, you present something or something's going to present itself, like, whoa, what was that?
There's too much of that, like going on with Most Haunted.
Yeah,
you didn't know whether it was true or not, like,
It's like that with a lot of shows. I mean, and then the next evolution was when Paranormal State arrived and everything was demonic. They went from ghosts to demons. Oh, ghosts just don't cut it anymore. They have to be demonic. And, to the point. Oh, hold on a sec. Yeah, we already talked about Daniel was saying this. We already talked about this.
I can go into it more if you want, but
it seems you got like a little fan there, a few fans there. I want to hear about your pants pulling incident.
I mean, I literally had 2 sets of trousers on. We were wearing suits, on top of our clothes, and I had a belt on underneath, and I had a set of things in my pockets like my keys and my wallet, and those things are really quite bulgy. So there was no way that these trousers that were on top of my existing trousers couldn't get down past that without having to be unzipped and pulled apart, and then you could get them down. But the weird thing was that I was standing there and my trousers came down at high speed. And then I said, well, that's weird, how that's happened. But then I said, but that doesn't seem right because look, and I pulled them up. I said, you try and get those trousers down over my pockets. You can't do it. I said, and these things just came down. So it's almost like as if the trousers became malleable, like non-physical. It's almost like, you hear about like ghosts passing through walls. It's like my trousers passed the obstructions in my pockets. So that was weird.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just sad, man.
Just a little.
And yeah, I mean, I really liked that night. I thought it was a good night. You know, we were getting like massive readings on the K2 meters, and yeah, I mean that was a very, very active night. And I mean, I must say that, you know, I've had some good experiences with some ghost hunters, but I know there are some out there that are, you know, laying it on a little bit thick. You know, especially when, you know, they got to have a result at every single location. You know, which to me is a kind of an indicator. I think, you know, you maybe some people are just naturally every single place they go to they're getting a result, but I mean, I've tended to find that, you know, you get very mixed results when you go to places. So, you know, if you kind of look and see the people are getting results every time, and it's upping the ante. I have even seen some people who are, you know, trying to kind of coerce, get the, you know, play the, what would Matt do if he sees that we've got this and we're going to do this? And Matt is not interested, you know, Matt's not interested in that stuff. I mean, I say, good luck to you, carry on, you know, you do what you got to do. But Matt isn't interested because Matt wants real stuff.
That's
bullshit.
That's when the poltergeist starts saying, well, we're not getting Matt's attention here. We're going to have to start throwing shit around.
Yeah, I'm not into the faking thing. I'm not into faking stuff.
I know. Yeah, I know.
It's kind of, it defeats the object, but this is it. You see, I mean, are these people real investigators, or are they out to, you know, get YouTube views and beat everyone else? It's almost like they're treating it like a race, you know.
Yeah.
And they must win. And to me, it's not a race; it's a journey. You know, it's not about getting there faster or proving you're better than other people.
But that's what it looks like everybody's trying to do, though.
Yeah,
they're trying to like be. It almost seems like they're trying to be the first to be able to provide any sort of solid evidence of the paranormal, and that's so they'll do whatever it takes to have people believe that.
Yeah,
right. And that's what I find discouraging about the paranormal field.
I mean, I've gone to the point now. What I say is, because I don't like doing the paranormal stuff too much on my channel, because I don't want to be, you know, tarred with any brushes where people kind of go like, oh, Matt's trying to sort of fake stuff or anything like that. I'm not too keen on it. So, because I think the Urbex thing, it delivers for me every time, because it's a location. It is what it is. I don't need to prove this stuff, the paranormal stuff. And I think, so what I tended to do recently is I will do an explore, and I'm cutting away to a hidden video where if you want to watch the paranormal bit that we did, you can watch it, you know, but it's a side thing, and only those people that kind of are like clued up enough to know how to find it will find it. It's not presented as the front show, you know.
Yeah.
And they're not getting many views from it either, but I will film, but I don't want to make it part of I don't want to make it the show. I don't want to make the Urbex show about the paranormal, because it's like an hour's worth of stuff that isn't very exciting a lot of the time, and that is what real paranormal stuff is usually about. It's not very exciting.
No.
So I don't want to make my thing 2 hours long with an hour of boredom in the middle, you know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I mean, I've gone out to investigations where I've had to go multiple times before even catching a single thing. Right. And if I were to, and this is before the popularity of YouTube and whatnot. And for me personally, I didn't even care about YouTube at the time anyway. It was around, but it just wasn't one of those things. But I mean, if I would have posted stuff like that on YouTube, I'd get 0 views, because we went to one location. I think we went there a good 12 times before we even captured anything that we could consider paranormal, if anything. You know what I mean? So I just imagine posting 12 videos of nothing. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's
how exciting that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's saying, what about crop circles? Well, okay, I kind of went from being a UFO researcher, and I started hanging around in Wiltshire a lot, and the crop circles that existed in Wiltshire. and I really wanted to know what was behind the crop circles. And I had an idea that some people were making them, but I didn't know quite how many, and I didn't quite know how that worked. So I became friendly with the circle makers. I kind of got an idea that the best way to befriend them was to start making them. And I thought, well, I'll make some crop circles and see what people think. And lo and behold, people were kind of like literally sort of like, oh my God, these crop circles have got some amazing things going on. But we hadn't even really made much effort to make them. And I thought, well, if they're getting excited by rubbish, what if we tried to do something better? You know, actually do something interesting. Because the first crop circles I made were literally we were rolling around in the field and just not even using planks of wood. We were just messing about. And
were you in the dark or did you have a torch?
no, it's just completely in the dark. You can't really use torches because it'll give away your presence.
Yeah.
You can't. It's got to be done in the complete darkness. And the most you can get away with is putting a torch through your fingers and holding it down over a piece of paper. But you've got to be very careful because, you know, people whose night vision is adjusted like to the dark, you know, they will see you. They'll spot you in a field. They'll know you're there.
Yeah.
So you've got to be really careful with that. But, you know, I started doing it to kind of see whether it could be done and what people would think about it. Then people were having weird experiences in the circles we'd made, and they were coming away with some strange experiences, life-altering experiences. And I started thinking, well, maybe it is about the intent of what you put into it when you make it. You know, maybe we need to kind of like formalize this and try and put certain energies in there. It's almost like the type of thing you'd be doing if you were doing a seance. You'd sort of say, well, you know, I want to call the spirits in. I want to call you in and talk to us and give us something. And I wanted to formalize it like that and see what would happen, see whether or not the energies and people's experiences would get better if I did that. So I used to kind of like do what I called an oration. And we would like call in the energies. We would say why we were doing it. We would ask for the universe or whatever's out there, because I didn't know what it was that was kind of possibly out there, whether it was aliens or ghosts or God or, you know, what is it? I don't know. It might be Mother Earth. I don't know. So I just used to say, well, you know, intelligence is out there. Give us the inspiration to do what you want to do. You know, we'll be your hand on the ground. You know, give us this energy to kind of do it. Put something in there that'll make it magical for other people and make it good. You know, make it positive. It's always positivity. You know, it wasn't anything. I mean, why would you do anything else? You know, I couldn't think of a reason to kind of do anything weird or dark. You know, and I think there have been some circle making teams that have been out there that have tried to kind of use it for their own ends and try and make it about themselves. And I consider that a little bit sort of dark, you know, trying to twist things a little bit, you know. But they've kind of, I think they've got moved out, you know, they kind of got pushed out, you know, because of negative people. They do just in life kind of get pushed out, you know, it doesn't work for them. So.
And that's the thing. I guess that's the thing too, Matt. I mean, like any sort of with with this obviously not being regulated or anything like that, you've got all sorts of fucking shit out there that you have to deal with, even with crop circles. I mean, you got people that will make claims of actual crop circles, and you know damn well they're not actual crop circles. They've been faked.
Mm.
Right? What
they all are. That's the thing.
Sorry, they're all. So you would say the percentage is 100% faked. There's nothing.
If it isn't, it's such a small amount that it would be insignificant, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the point is that from what I've seen of what people get from crop circles over the years, and the fact that I've known pretty much everybody who's making them, so it's no mystery to me when that appears in that field that night. I mean, I've usually got a tip off that the people are going to do it as well. You know, I know what's coming. I certainly used to. I don't anymore because I've dropped out of it now. You know, I've had my UFO phase. I had my crop circle phase. Now I'm in my urbex phase. You know, but I still have a love for it. But I I've let it go. You know, I'm you know, it's got to kind of go on to new people, and new people have to carry that on. I just hope that they have the highest intent when they do it. You know,
The knowledge within says 70% are fakes, 30% are real.
well, I think it was 80-20 was the Colin Andrews kind of figure that he gave out there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we didn't push back against that because I think people want to believe.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I've picked up from many years of being involved in the subject, and you know, I kind of you can't destroy people's love and wish to believe in something, you know, by totally throwing in the towel or showing everything, you know. And if people want to say, oh yeah, well, the ones you make are the crap ones, Matt, so there's the real ones are the good ones, so therefore it doesn't matter if you make them because the real ones are still out there and you're not doing those. And you go, absolutely, have a nice day.
So
You know,
so
but it's
okay.
not the truth.
So
It's not the
people
truth.
would be able to know Matt or sorry, people would know your style of crop circle. You have a certain
not really, because we all copy each other's
so
styles.
there's not a signature that everyone has. It's just let's do it sort of thing.
There
People
are.
there
But
are.
I can't tell
can't
you some of them
tell.
because they're almost like a hidden trademark. I know what they are, but
Okay.
I would get into big trouble, you know, because some of these people are my friends, and when you know what you're looking for is so obvious because you know
people still doing it, is it? Because I mean,
think so. Yeah.
There's not much going around these days like about it, is it?
Not so much. I mean, I think the good days. I mean, I've got to say, I mean, the good days when a lot of us were really raging on this stuff. You know, we were out there every night, and we were doing some crazy big stuff, and you know, it was done with good intent. It was like a pure intent. I think there's kind of a laziness has kind of crept in, you know, and it does require people that are kind of, you know, you've got to be mad for this stuff, you know, you've got to really want to do it and want people to experience things from it and experience things yourself, you know. It becomes like an obsession. I mean, it's like a drug because, I mean, I was getting ill when I was doing these things as well because I get bad hay fever, and I was coming out of these things looking like I'd been beaten up sometimes, you know. But you still want to go back and do it, you know. You still go back and do it again, go and do it again. But I mean, I was like back in 1992. I started. I got arrested for it in 2000 because I was trying really hard to tell people how it was people, you know, and it was a good thing, and that people were getting the magic from man-made crop circles. But, you know, that grated so hard against these believers, they didn't want to know, you know, so they wanted to, you know, I became, well, yeah, I'm not gonna, yeah, no, I'm not gonna make that, forget. Right. Yeah. I'm just going to say, yeah, no, I had a thought, like a vision of I could put myself in this. No, I'm not going to do that. It's too, yeah, I'm not going to. So, yeah, but people didn't want to know. They didn't want to know. A lot of people didn't, you know, some did. And we even took some scientists out under controlled conditions as well, where we said, you know, you need to come out and see when we make circles, strange things happens. We see balls of light, we see strange lights in the sky, and we have strange coincidences and things happen. And we took people out and they saw weird shit they'd never seen before.
So
you know?
so let me ask you, Matt, putting together a basic crop circle, how much time are we talking here, roughly?
You start at about 10 o'clock at night when it gets dark. This is in the actual putting it down on the ground.
Yeah.
10 o'clock at night till about 4 in the morning. It's starting to get light by about 5 in the morning. This is in the summer months, obviously. Yeah, you know, and it'll be getting light enough to be spotted, but it depends. If there's hills nearby and they can look down in, they'll see you. If they're level with you, you might have a better chance to be working into the daylight. And if you're on the top of a hill and nobody can see in, there's chances are nobody's going to see you, so you can work into the daylight. Plus, also you get the early morning mists and fogs.
Yeah.
And they can hide you, so you can work into the daylight quite effectively. And you know, we've had to work into proper daylight on some of them, and people say, well, you couldn't do that because people would see you, and it's like, oh yeah, but we were ready to run out. You know what I mean? We were ready to run.
We
if
got our
anyone
escape
came.
route.
Yeah. So, you know, and people go back the day after and complete things. Not every crop circle's been created in one night, and nobody found them. And then you go back and finish it on day 2, and you know that nobody's really going to know it's there unless an aircraft flies over and spots it and reports it. So we would drop a hint. We were often dropping hints of where these things were, so people would go and find them. You know, we were the ones that make them. We're also the ones that make sure everyone else finds them. That's how it works.
Make sure people see them. Like.
So okay. So what are some of the tools that you'd bring?
Yeah, a plank of wood.
Plank of wood, yeah.
Plank of wood with rope on it. We call that the stomper board. You know, you just as light as possible. Really, a stomper board.
Sounds great.
Yeah, and we would take a tape measure. That was essential. Oh, sorry. That's
Bless
the
you.
snuff. That's the snuff. Right. Yeah. So we take a tape measure. So I suppose if you're talking about from design to finishing, of course you have to do the design on paper first. So that might be sort of like you might spend a couple of nights just doodling around, and then you have to formalize that and then get your measurements before you go out into the field. So you'd spend maybe a couple of hours doing doodles, and then taking the measurements, and then you're ready to go out. You've got your measurements on the paper. So although you don't use a torch at night, you would probably use a torch through your fingers just to read the numbers so that you can reel out the right tape measurements on your tape measure. The tape measures have quite large numbers on them, so you can read that at night without a torch.
Yeah.
So, but you've got to have a good awareness of where you are. So an artistic ability, some sort of artistic flair. You've got to kind of place yourself in this shape and know where you are, because at night when you're walking around, you can easily get lost in a design, and you have to work out where you are, that you are not crossing over bits you shouldn't be crossing over and flattening bits that shouldn't be flattened. So you've got to have a good awareness, and we make mistakes as well, and you have to change things on the fly. You have to make a decision, change a bit, flatten a bit that wasn't meant to be flattened, and change the whole design, to make it look correct, so it doesn't look like you've made a mistake.
The knowledge within wants to know, what's your view on the crop circle that appeared next to Stonehenge?
There's been a few. They're probably talking about the spiral Julia set, I think they call it, fractal. They're probably talking about that one. There's a story that it wasn't there 1 minute and then a plane flew back and then it was there. I would argue, as a pilot, I've seen this a lot, because I used to fly, and when things are under shadows of clouds, even on a nice day, you can't see what's under that shadow, because your eyes only really see into lit areas when you're in an aircraft. And object fixation is a big thing when you learn to fly. They say to you, where's the airfield? This is a classic. You learn this when you learn to fly. They say, well, where's the airfield? And you go, it should be over there. And they say, where? And you go, and you're scanning and you're scanning. You can't see it. You can't see it. You can't see it. Can't see it. And what suddenly, when you do see it, but you see it properly. But your brain has no reference, so it doesn't know what it's looking for. But then all of a sudden, when it sees it, suddenly it's almost like as if it opens out for you. It reveals itself. Now, if you put an airfield underneath a cloud, you will not see it. You will never see it. If it's in the distance, you'll never see it. If you fly under the cloud and you're in the dark and you're looking around in the dark, yes, you'll probably see it. But when you're in a lit environment, you're probably not going to see it. Now, the second thing is object fixation, which is if you see something and you've got locked onto it with your eyes, you become so fixated with that object that you're not looking at the bigger picture, which is other aircraft flying around you. So when you're coming into land, you've got a big runway in front of you. you're fixated on it because it's really important, and you're locked into what you're doing and your instruments and everything like that. So you're looking at that thing, you're looking at that thing, you're looking at the object. So you're fixated on the object. And then you forget to look at other things, like how fast am I going to hit the ground? You know, you're looking at it so much, you're not looking at your rate of descent, and you're not looking at your speed.
You're not looking at your readings on the in front of you, like
you become fixated. Now, Stonehenge is an object that people fixate on. The people had flown to Stonehenge because they were interested in Stonehenge. Now, if there was, and I've shown this as well, right? When you're flying in one direction, crop in a field can become invisible. And when you fly the other direction, it becomes visible. And I've shown this. It's to do with the way the crop is laying, the way that the light is bouncing off the crop. And you can literally fly around a crop circle. And as you're filming out of the window of the aircraft, the crop circle becomes very bland and low contrast. And then as you go around it, it stands out. And then as you keep going around it, it goes flat again. And then as you go around it, it stands out. And it's like it almost changes. It goes light, dark, invisible, visible, invisible, visible. So it does that. So there's nothing to say that crop circle wasn't slightly obscured by the way its light was reflecting. And it could have been under a cloud at that particular moment in time. And what were they fixated on? Stonehenge.
Stonehenge. And
So
we're talking about just a regular flyby. That's it, right? Just a regular flyby. If somebody's just casually flying by, you know, you got to take into consideration the lighting and the environment. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Sorry,
that's fine.
That'll be the snuff.
Why? Oh, okay. So Trevor wants to know why. Trevor, by the way, is I know you're familiar with Trevor from the Mindset Podcast.
Yeah.
Wants to know why did you and others fake making crop circles?
Oh God, there we are. It's a loaded question.
There's a loaded question.
Loaded question. Right? So it depends on your perspective. If you believe there are real crop circles that people aren't making, then you would consider that what we would be making to be fake, because we would be faking the real thing. However, from my perspective, being a circle maker and knowing everyone else that's out there making them, I would say, well, you don't understand. It's people making them. You know, where's the real ones? You know, where are the real ones? We're doing them. You know, and the thing is that the standard gets set by the nicer the crop circle, the more impressive, the bigger the crop circle, and the more people have weird experiences that they report. These are all markers of why it's not made by people. You see, the believers would say the more of these things you have, the more people can't make that. And I would say we made that, you know, that's the point. We made that. It's just that the more good it is, the more people don't want to believe it's people.
Well, let's clarify too, Matt, that most people, and we're going to say a good, I'd say 90% of people who are inquisitive about crop circles haven't got a clue about the history of them. Where did they come from? When did they start? The basic questions. And if somebody was to ask you, Matt, when did these start and where and all that kind of stuff, like, see, I am like, I don't know much about crop.
The earliest stories that come out there is the classic is the mowing devil, and this was something from, you know, medieval history where there are wood carvings which depict a devil standing there with a scythe in his hand, which would obviously they used to scythe and cut the crop, you know, with a sharpened blade. The story goes, if you read the story, I think the clue is so obvious in the story. You know, don't be thinking that the devil mowed a crop circle. Listen to the story. The story says that a farmer was approached by somebody, a person, not a devil, a human being who
Yeah.
said, "I want to earn money cutting your crop. Can I work for you?" The farmer said, "I don't need anybody to work for me. Thank you very much. Not looking for anyone at the moment. Goodbye."
Yeah.
This incensed the person, who then said, I put a curse on you. I curse you." Yeah. And then that night, apparently a glowing, I think there was some sort of suggestion of some sort of glow in the sky, which could have just been, your red sky at night, shepherd's delight and all that, but it could have been that. But in the morning, there was a circular mark was cut into the field. Cut or pressed, we don't know, cut or pressed. But it was interpreted by the farmer and others that this was a sign that the devil had done it. The devil had done it. And it was unusual, unusual to have that. Because they were probably highly religious people, they believed that it was something sinister, supernatural. And so it was written up as the devil had mowed it. But of course, what's the first half of the story? Somebody said, "Can I cut your field?" He'd cursed the farmer, and I reckon he came back at night and made a little mark in the field to weird everyone out. It's the most simple explanation, but of course, everyone remembers it's the mowing devil. The devil did it, you see, because that's the way that the religious angle of the people interpreted it, you see. But I mean, I think, you had a historical case there of somebody making a circle to weird everybody out.
I think Social Dilemma asked a great question there. Why they do them in secret? I think there's a big hint there with criminal damage in there.
Yeah. Because I got done for criminal damage and got given a criminal record. I didn't have any criminal record prior to that. That was how I got my criminal record, was through that, because I was trying to tell people how we were doing it, and it bit me on the arse, because of course you're not supposed to be doing it, really, are you? Yeah.
So you, what is it? Is it mainly like wheat? What kind of fields are we talking about? Wheat fields?
Yeah, wheat field, and barley and wheat.
Barley and wheat. Okay.
Rapeseed usually appears as the early crop, so that's the yellow stuff.
Yeah.
And people are very tempted to go out and make them in that, because it's the early crop, and all the circle makers are all gagging to get out and do something early. But it's horrible to work in. But it's much better to kind of wait for the other stuff, for the wheat and the barley, because it's easier to press down, and you get a much higher, sharper definition. The rapeseed is such like fluffy plants they've got large heads on them, that it makes rough shapes when you press it down. So the edges are always a little bit more jagged, whereas barley goes down very neatly. It's a very fine line. So when you view it from afar, it's a real crisp line. And of course, you can do things with barley that you can't do with, rapeseed, because rapeseed is very thick stems. I mean, it's almost like bamboo. It's really thick, and wheat and barley are very thin stems. So they're much easier to push down, and you can actually do like mowing effects, where you go one direction, then you go back, and you go forward and back, and you can actually get mowing marks that produce cross hatches and things, and wah patterns in them. I mean, I was quite well known for my what they call basket weave. Well, got known as basket weave, because I used to go up, miss a line, go down, miss a line, go up, miss a line, and then I would crisscross the remainders, and it made it look like it was an optical illusion. It made it look like everything was going under and over the crop, so it was all woven together, but it was just an optical illusion. But it was a good optical illusion. Everyone loved it, and they said, "Oh, it's completely impossible." So I had to demonstrate it a few times in paid demonstrations to show people how it was done. They still didn't believe it.
I just envision these small town hall meetings between all these farmers, and they got these wanted posters of Matt's face on them.
Oh, by the way, by paid demonstration, I mean that they paid for the use of the field. I didn't get paid, I just paid for the field, So, yeah, I mean, the farmers didn't really like me. Yeah, I've had a lot of aggro with farmers. I mean, I could tell you some stories. I mean, I've had people trying to infiltrate my circle of friends to kind of, find out what we're up to and shop us and cause problems for us. I had somebody who was connected with the farmer's wife actually got in my house and planted drugs everywhere and then called the police. Yeah. Yep. I mean, you wouldn't believe the stories I've got. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were quite intent on, they just wanted to be out of the area, just get him out of the area, stop him making the circles, and just stop, They didn't like it. But the thing is, the farmer's wife was such a believer in real crop circles, and she didn't like the fact that we were saying we were making them. So what she wanted is kind of like us out of the way so the real stuff could still be there. But I mean, even if I dropped dead, they'd still be crop circles because I'm not the only one making them, so it doesn't really work, to kind of get rid of Matt Williams is all going to go away.
So
a lot of people making circles.
Yeah, somebody just added you in the chat, by the way. They know you work for the government.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get that a lot, but yeah, I mean, yeah, government, I suppose, fake news. Why not crop circles? I mean, I've had people turn around and say that I work for MI5, but I have yet to. I mean, I wish I had a good paycheck coming in.
I was going to say, have you received your first paycheck yet?
No, I mean, if people only knew, like, I literally lived in my car for 9 months on the hills of Wiltshire because I really wanted to see UFOs and I was like really interested in the crop circles.
You grew up anywhere near Warminster by any chance?
Yeah. I'm in Warminster quite a lot actually. I mean it's 20 minutes drive in that direction through there, So
I went to a great big rave there once gathering in '93.
A rave, oh my god. Remember those days? Oh.
Yeah. A certain big farm like up in Warminster like.
Wasn't Longbridge Deverill, was it?
No, I had the name of it today and I fucking forgot what it was. But
yeah.
It's a big place, like it's right. You can't really. It's still there. The farm is still good to this day.
Yeah, I mean, I used to put on raves. I mean, a lot of what I've done over the years has been for the love of, and by that I mean, I have not been paid for it. It's taken a lot of time and effort and love, to put these things on.
You enjoy doing this. You enjoy doing it. Yeah, I hear you, Matt. I hear
free
you.
Parties, we're paid. Me is paying to bring the sound system to you and the lights and all the stuff that goes with it, and then people have got no idea because there's a lot of people there are trying to steal things off you, but they don't understand you're putting the party on for free. And then there's people like, going, oh, I'm going to steal these lights. I'm going to try and steal equipment, and it's like, don't they understand? Don't they understand? We are doing this for you, don't steal from us. We're doing it for you.
You'll know this farm, Lower Pertwood Farm.
Ah.
Is that where the rave was?
That was where Tribal Gathering was in 1993, like
Lower Pertwood.
Lower Pertwood, PER.
Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. Hang on a minute. Hindon. Oh, hang on. Yeah, Pertwood Organic Farm, but it's in Longbridge, Deverill. I'm sure it's Longbridge, Deverill.
Well, no, this one was Lower Pertwood Farm, Warminster in Wiltshire. So yeah.
No. It is the same place I'm talking about. Yeah. Lower Pertwood Farm is just before you get onto the 303. It's south of Warminster.
Yeah.
Yeah. The organic farm. No, I've done raves there. Yeah, we put raves on. In fact, the poor lad Martin, who put on one of the raves, he passed away in his bed. He just didn't wake up one morning. And it was so yeah. Rest in peace, Martin. He was a guy that used to put it all on for free. It was all done out of love. So
Barry says Pam Spurs. Yeah. Another
show me where I could get some. Yeah.
Panspermia.
Sounds like a good party.
Oh yeah.
Panspermia.
Alex, did you ever go to any raves?
No, I
You
wasn't
never-
that adventurous.
No. Oh
No.
man. Fuck.
Oh,
I started going to clubs late in life. And then it was only for a few years, and then I stopped.
Clubs? Who said clubs? Yeah,
No, I
we're
know,
talking
but I
about
mean,
raves.
this to show just how adventurous I was.
The original raves, there was no clubs.
Oh, I know.
there's
I've
nothing
had friends
like,
who've gone, but I've never gone.
Yeah.
there's nothing like sort of like getting a tip off that like
Yeah.
in some forest somewhere, and you're like, are we there? Are we there? And you sort of like stop the car, and you can hear miles away. You can hear like, doof, 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 and then you're like, it's over there. So you just keep driving, and then
One
see
year
cars parked on the side of the road, and you get out, you keep walking, and then suddenly there's like 5 sound systems in the middle of a forest, and everybody's all like in ultraviolet gear, and they're all on drugs, and it's brilliant. Everyone's like, yeah,
right at the side of the sea, like right. St. Moore's Castle was not that far away from us, and we're walking around the field, and there's just cows in the field as well. Like, woo.
I'm raving and I'm bumping up against some cows, man. Woohoo!
Cows walking around in the field as well. Like,
Is this real? It's real? Holy shit, this is real.
yeah, I mean, there was a couple I went to, like they were right on the coast, like right down by the sea, and they lasted a good day or so. There was another one I went to in a quarry that was on for a day and a half, and in the end, they had the helicopters flying over, like from Culdrose, like come down and get it out, like, and it was massive, like huge places. Yeah, fantastic times.
I mean, we've had, was it like 40 sound systems in Wales? Like 40 sound systems. I mean, up a valley, and you can just walk and keep walking from sound to sound to sound. You can have reggae, rave, acid, techno, drum and bass, and it's just like all these different sound systems. And it was just like you had tens of thousands of people, like, I mean, probably more than that even. Some of these things, they're you've got to go there. You've got to understand it. But I mean, some of these things have just been absolutely legendary.
I'll tell you the ones with Universe, like especially Universe ones. The guy who did those at Lower Pertwood, he never made any money out of it. He never made any profit. What? And he had thousands of people turn up. I mean, thousands.
That was the thing, though.
And never made any money out of it.
That was the thing, though. It wasn't about money. It was just about getting people together and just having a good time. That's all it was. That's what these raves were about.
Playing the best music with the best sound systems loud, so you were feeling it. Like you'd never get it as good as that in a nightclub. You never get it as good.
And of course, having a little bit of E and all that kind of stuff.
Whatever you need.
Whatever you needed.
Whatever you need.
When I went to Universe, we had a hardcore tent, and it was like a massive, great tent, 30,000 people in it. And it was in the middle was the DJ area, and they had this massive, great screen in the middle, and there was like and that was just solid. I mean, you had Carl Cox playing there, Fabio and Groove Rider playing hardcore, Jumping Jack Frost playing drum and bass, early jungle, like when it just started, like early jungle, and it was just one of the best times, like best time of my life.
I mean, some of these things, they've actually had like proper circus tents, which are like, in between being used as a circus, they've like, we'll put this up in a field and we'll have a rave, and we go in there and there's we're all dancing like that, right? And above you've got trapeze artists doing like swinging through the air, like, going like, whoa, above you and like grabbing onto
somebody swimming past your head, like, whoa.
You literally look up and there's a trapeze artist going through the air, like, it's just, wow.
No
when your mind is like, on a wavelength, and you're seeing all of this, and you're like, wow, somebody put this on for free, for fun.
Well,
this is great.
There's one in is it in Nevada. Every year, Burning Man.
Burning Man,
And
yeah.
that's sort of like a next evolution sort of rave.
I'd like to
And
go to Burning Man.
that
Actually,
would
yeah.
be awesome. I've known a few people that have gone to it, and they basically say it's like completely life altering.
Yeah.
You know, in so many ways.
Yeah.
You know,
All
it's-
art that's gone into it, and
Yeah.
people have these illuminated things at night, like walking figures walking like 50-foot high through the desert, and in the dark, and it's just
I mean,
amazing.
and they literally have big burnings of Burning Man.
Yeah,
They literally burn these huge haystack molded men
effigies. Yeah.
effigies and all that.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
Mm.
And I don't know what Matt, do you know when they put that on? That's usually in the summer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the summer. But I mean, again, it's like free parties.
Yep.
Obviously, Burning Man has got this thing of like they say, oh, we know there's drugs going on at Burning Man, so they tried to like get all the vehicles are coming in. The police are trying to stop people coming into it and checking them for drugs and things like that. But everyone gets in, and it is what it is. I think it's not about drugs. It's about art and creativity. But everyone's going to get there. Nobody's going to stop these people. Everyone's going to get there. No matter what the police do, they're not going to stop it. And that's the good thing, because in the UK, the authorities they double down to try and stop this. If somebody was to say like we're having a Burning Man and it's unofficial, it's like everyone can do what they want. The UK authorities, they bring out the army. They would be like, no, you're not having it, no. So that's why I like the United States, because I've said many times, right, in the US, there might be some laws you don't like, but when you speak to people about things, they always try to find a way to make it happen. So let's find 10 reasons to do it.
Yeah.
In the UK, it's find 10 reasons not to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a different mindset. I think in the United States, it's all about let's make this happen. In the UK, it's about why it shouldn't happen.
I think it depends on what part of the states you're thinking, Matt, because I know there are some states that are pretty locked up now. It's actually crazy how it is now.
Oh, it's great. It's great that people do that sort of thing outside, because
it is awesome.
Years ago, right. No word of a lie. They had a big wicker man in the room, in the nightclub, and they set fire to it in the club, and we're like,
oh, that's cool.
And the whole fucking place, on the corner of the stage, it was on fire,
Now, where do they actually? And I have to ask you guys: do they actually have a May Day festival where they burn a wicker man?
They don't have a May Day. We have a thing down in your neck of the woods, isn't it? I think it's in. We have a tar barrel thing, and they have this thing. What they call it runs through the town, and they got blokes running through towns with tar barrels on fire on the back of their backs.
Yeah,
and it's a big festival down in the southwest, every year. And it's usually round about the end of, I think it's about August time, maybe something like that.
Yeah,
just before the end of summer, they do this. I can't remember what the festival's called now, but
there are little things that kind of approximate it. But I mean, the traditional thing was like Morris dancers and maypoles. So they would have a pole, and they would have lots of streamers coming off the pole, and people would all grab one and they would all dance around the pole. And there's various areas have all got their own little traditions and things like that. But
down in Cornwall they had Floral Day, which was like the beginning of May. It's like the May Day or the start of it's basically the start of summer, isn't it?
I mean, there's like the cheese rolling festival, which is like banned. They're not allowed to have it, but it always runs every year. But the authorities tell everyone it is not running. It has been cancelled. But it still carries on. It's there, and it's what people roll a cheese down a hill, and then everybody has to try and catch the cheese. So they go down the hill and they fall head over heels.
Broken up,
they get broken bones, trying to chase this cheese down the hill.
It's a good thing they didn't have that for burritos.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, Alex would be the first one. Get the fuck out of my way. This is my burrito.
I would
Roll
recommend
that
people,
burrito. The quickest roll a burrito. It's all yours.
if people want to watch the Burning Man film, don't watch the one with Nicolas Cage. Watch the
No,
original.
Christopher
Watch the
Lee,
I
original.
man.
watched the
Wicker Man.
uncut version of it as well, like the director's cut.
Yeah, the director's cut. Yeah,
Yeah, which
I
is
fucking love that thing, man.
Straight
Such a
up, man.
classic film.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. I mean, I love nightclubs and I love the vibe. I think that when people are kind of focusing their energy in a nightclub and they're dancing, they're focusing energy towards the DJ, and there's a vibe, and there's this kind of like energy which you can only understand if you've been to somewhere like that. Not like a boozing type, like everyone getting drunk and wanting to fight each other, but like on a nicer vibe, on a nicer like, and raves are like that. Raves are kind of like the energy is lifted.
Sorry, that button.
No, go ahead.
We did an event called a Country Club, like, which is not down in Yeovil. It used to be in Yeovil, and we did a reunion night there. And the first night we ever did a reunion, we had the room like we had an outside room, like a warm up room, and then we opened the main room up. And as soon as you opened the doors to the main room, you could feel the energy, man. You could feel it coming in, and literally the dance floor filled up with like 30 seconds, and it was full. And the atmosphere, man, you get off that. There's nothing. I get heart palpitations now, like the feeling of when you see that. I mean, you see people going, when you've got the lights right.
Yeah.
Man, what a buzz! Like, I was buzzing my head off that night. Like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, fantastic.
So
Good,
I mean,
good night, Mel.
And crop circles. Oh, you're off, Mel. Are you? Night, Dan. Bye.
Take care, Mel.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Again, it's this euphoria, this feeling that there's something more. You can get that in a nightclub. You can get that in a crop circle.
Yeah.
And you can get that doing a seance. You can get that feeling. There's something else. There's something bigger. It's bigger. It's because the people are connecting with something else. There's something else. It's more than the sum of the parts, know?
It is.
And I think this is what crop circles are about. People go to them. They're asking questions. They're opening themselves up, and they have experiences. They see UFOs above crop circles that I know I've made, and it's a good thing. There's nothing to be mocked or it's not to if people don't want to believe that's made by people because it makes it work for them better, I say then good luck to you. I'm not going to destroy that for you. Then you go with that. And that's why a lot of the crop circles are still mysterious to this day, because it's not about proving every single circle. It's about giving people that room to kind of maneuver their own beliefs in there and have the experience they need.
Like, you said beliefs. Now, are there people who, like, for instance, have pilgrimage? Oh my God, I'm having a
pilgrimage.
Yeah, exactly. To these places, like they view these as, say, sacred locations.
Yeah. The same way people go to see the pyramids and get wow factor from it. And you can, there's various ways you can kind of connect with this.
Magnetic lines as well is another one, isn't it? Magnetic lines. I mean, Glastonbury's like that as well. Lots of people draw to Glastonbury every year, like especially when the festival
ley lines.
So that,
I mean, if you go to a church and you believe, I think you have to be open-minded and you're wanting to believe. If you believe in something and you go to a special place that has significance, you may connect with that and you may end up having that experience, that's going to work for you. And it could be in all manner of things. It could be going to a very special place in the countryside. You could be climbing a hill, or you could be like riding a motorcycle really fast. But like when you're in that zone, when you're connecting with that kind of energy, and it takes you to a different place. It takes you to a new feeling. You like everything switches on for you. Crop circles do that for people.
Happy times is really good as well when you got happy. When you, I mean, I used to always love like coming up on pills, like and especially on pills, you'd have that certain energy, like and everything just goes like for for a few hours, all your troubles go out the window. Like, you know, you're in a zone.
Ecstasy is particularly good
Are
for
you
that
still
because
talking about those raves, John?
yeah, it's
He's
funny
still
because
raving.
you meet people sky watching in Warminster looking for UFOs. You know, like people come there on pilgrimages looking for UFOs, and it's like because you don't know who these people are, but because you know that you're all there for the UFOs, your differences kind of go away, and you're there for the UFOs. You're there for it, you know. So people come to crop circles and they want an answer in their life, or they're looking for something, and the differences between who these people are disappear. It's like an ecstasy in nightclubs is very good for removing the kind of egos. People are there for the music, they're there for the vibe, and the ecstasy takes away everyone's fears and worries, and just suddenly everyone feels empathy towards each other, you know, and they feel love and empathy and energy, you know, and it's like that's why, you know, people take drugs, you know, at these parties. And I know, I mean, you know this, Crazy John. You'll tell me that this is absolute. People who work in nightclubs as security and the owners will say we love people taking drugs in the nightclubs because everyone is on such a happy kind of spirit, and there's no fighting. Whereas when it's alcohol, everyone's fighting, you know.
They don't like to admit to that, though, but you're all right. That does go on. I mean, I remember years ago, I used to go to a club in Torquay, like called the Monastery, and that didn't have an alcohol license. It was just, you know, you went in there, you could have a cup of tea and walk around the club, like, you know. It was, but you always could tell when Claire's kicked out, because Claire's kicked out at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you'd see the aggro come in, like you would always know when the aggro turned up, like, because it was 3 o'clock in the morning, like, you know. They'd all just come out of Claire's and they were on going into somewhere else till late at night till they finished at 7 a.m. Like, you know. But yeah, total different vibe, man. Unbelievable vibe.
Gents, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm having a hard time staying awake.
Take care. Take care.
But
dude,
we'll chat soon.
Yeah. Well, no show next
Mr.
Sunday night.
Pedini, you need to take some drugs, sir.
This is what's putting me to sleep.
Different type of drug, sir.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right,
All the
take
best.
care. Take care.
Right, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah.
You know, you can get to these. Sorry, you can get to these places without drugs. You can get to these head states without drugs. But I think that, you know, they can take you there without. It's like they can accelerate you. It's almost like as if I think the Dalai Lama was once asked about the use of drugs, and he said, well, I think that people who have taken drugs in many cases have reached the top of the mountain. But what they have done is they have teleported there rather than having to do the long walk up.
I've heard that was up.
Yeah. They've literally transported themselves to the top of the mountain, which is where you need to be, you know, but they have literally appeared there very quickly through the use of drugs instead of having to take the very long walk, which is meditation and study and devotion. You know, you can transplant yourself to the nirvana, you know, with the use of drugs. It's kind of what people have been doing for thousands of years, you know, with studying religious beliefs, you know. So
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, I'm just going to end things on the radio portion here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's show, and I want to thank Matt. Matt, quickly, just get your info out there for the people listening on the New Visions Radio Network, where to find you on YouTube and wherever else.
Get my info out for the boys. You're saying
for the boys, for the girls, whoever's looking.
My info out for the boys. Right, okay. This sounds like a rugby chant, doesn't it? I'm from Wales, where they like rugby. Right, okay. It's The Secret Vault on YouTube is the best way to spot what I'm up to. And it's all one word. So just type in The Secret Vault without any spaces in it on YouTube. You'll find us. I did it that way so you can find us.
Awesome, and thank you. And don't go anywhere. Obviously, we're still going live. Or join us if you're listening to us on the New Visions Radio Network. We're still going very much live on our YouTube channel as usual after hours. So join us there on our YouTube channel, Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
The after party.
The after party. Yeah. So take care, everyone. Thank you for listening on the New Visions Radio Network. And we'll next Sunday there won't be a show next Sunday. It's a long weekend here in Canada. Victoria,
Well, you don't get much sunlight, do you? So I mean, let's face it. Yeah.
Actually, we get a shitload of sunlight. You guys aren't getting much sunlight there.
Yeah. It's long winter, isn't it? It's like so 6 months of dark. Here they all are on New Visions Radio.
Those damn Canadian vampires. Oh yeah. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So we're good. We're good to go. Yeah. It's if anyone else wants to join us, by all means, please do so. The link is in chat. Once again, we've got Matt from the Secret Vault. Thank you again, Matt, for coming on. Always great to have you on, buddy. He's got the mask going.
No, it's a pair of knickers, mate. It's a pair of knickers.
and our good friend, Crazy John. John, you're awfully quiet tonight.
Well, I was letting Matt talk about those circles, but you know, I've got a few things about.
You've got it. Well, come on, let's hear them.
A couple of stories.
Let's hear them.
Yeah, there was where I used to live. There's a castle. There's two castles. One was called Pendennis and one was called St. Maud's. And in between that is a big bay of water with very deep in one part of it. There's a 300-foot mountain in it, which raises up to just underneath the sea level. Anyway, one night a friend of mine saw a UFO fly in between the two castles. Literally go across the sky. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was very. She said, "Yeah, it was a purple shape, a purple color to it, and it was not like a saucer shape. It was a different kind of it's like a bell almost.
Bell,
like
the
a bell.
bell. I'm thinking of the Nazi bell.
The Nazi bell, yeah. Well, the
Nazi bell.
That's a different story.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the one she said she'd seen one night was the UFO. I mean, I got another story, but I think everybody's heard that one before about old boy who's seen a cigar shape in the sky, and that was over a fuel depot. We used to have a fuel depot in the town, which used to supply all the oil to R&S Cold Roads, and he was walking in between one night, in between the fields. We had this pathway that went up in between them, and he was walking up there one night on his own, dark. I mean, this was an eerie lane as it was, like this pathway, and somebody had been murdered down there years ago, back in the 70s. So he had that vibe to it, that real eerie vibe. And he was walking down. He was walking up through the fields, clear night, sky, stars in the sky. It was middle of the summer as well, so it was reasonably warm. It wasn't cold. And he said he was walking up and he just noticed it in the air. He just looked up and he said there was a giant black shape, like a cigar. He said he only described it as a cigar. And he said when he noticed that, he then caught out the corner of his eye something orange in the fields running around. And then it just went, disappeared. And the thing just vanished out of the sky like that.
That is crazy.
And he's kept that story for. I mean, the guy's still alive now, and he's kept that story for nearly 40 years. Yeah.
Sounds a bit like that we saw a red ball of light in a field, and there was a Lynx helicopter was hovering above it.
Wow.
And I shone my light at the Lynx helicopter, blinding them, and then this thing went off. And the helicopter came over me and was literally sort of over my head, because it was pissed off that I was shining the light at them. Yeah. And anyway, we drove up the hill because we wanted to find out.
Oh,
Oh,
Do it, dude.
where this ball of
Matt.
light had
Oh,
gone.
there you go.
And we saw. Was I gone?
Yeah,
like
it's got some temporal jumping going on there, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Some
Are we-
weird
are we-
temporal jumping going on over there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was just following on a story from like
Quickly.
Crazy John. I saw this with my own eyes, me and my friend. We went up the hill. We saw this ball of light heading off towards the town called Pewsey, or a village called Pewsey. And this is a big place, you know, and we saw this thing going off, and then I saw above it. It was almost like because we were transfixed on the ball of light, and then it's sort of like when you look up the bigger picture, I realized there's a huge saucer, right? Massive saucer shape at night in the dark. So it wasn't illuminated. So this was like I could see this shape, and it would have been bigger than the whole town village of Pewsey. It's probably about a mile across. Yeah.
Wow.
And this little ball of light went along underneath it. It was going through the fields. It was like through the fields, and it went across there. And then we saw it go boosh up into the bottom of the thing. And then a split second later, the whole saucer just went
Poof, gone.
straight up.
Oh,
Gone.
yeah.
That quick. Yeah.
You wouldn't
I've
didn't
seen
even
it.
hear it. Just like that, isn't it?
I couldn't have heard it because this was miles away. I mean, you know, we're talking that would have been about 5-6 miles away, and this thing would have been, you know, about a mile across. It was huge, but you know, it was, yeah. I've seen that, you know, and the funny thing was, you know, Dr. Stephen Greer. Yeah, he came over and we were doing an interview because the Japanese were in town and they were asking for like stories. And we said, well, we saw this ball of light and we were telling them about it. So we were standing where we said we saw it going across the field there and we were doing a reenactment for them. And somebody came walking up and they said, oh, yeah, hi, what are you doing? And we said, oh, well, we're just reenacting what we saw. And I went, really? Okay. Oh, we're with Stephen Greer. He's up on the hill now. And it's like, oh, really? Wow. And I said, yeah, I've seen you guys. You've got the laser pointers. He went, yeah. So anyway, I said, have you got one of those laser pointers? He went, yeah, I've got one in my pocket. I was like, oh, come on. This was in the days when laser pointers cost £2,000.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Very
So he got this laser pointer out and I said, do you think it would hit that cloud? Do you think you could actually hit that cloud there? Because it was getting evening time. So it was, you know, between, you know, it was getting a bit dark. And he said, yeah, okay. So he shone it at the cloud and the cloud went boom.
Wow.
And went like light came across the cloud and 3 balls of light came out of it. Like that, and came down, and we were like going, you know, well, I can probably swear now because you're not on the radio. I'm sorry about earlier on, by the way. I forgot you were on a radio show as well. But it was like we were going, fucking hell, film. And the Japanese guys, and we were like, film it. And these balls of light went off in 3 different directions. And where we were standing, to the left of us, in a ravine, which was not very big. I mean, we're talking only a couple of 100 feet wide, this ravine. Yeah. All of a sudden, this noise. It was like, and a big military helicopter came up out from the corner. And it was like, what? Where did that come from? It was hovering there, making no noise.
That's crazy.
And when this cloud went boof like this thing just went and just came out in front of us. It's like, where the fuck did that just come from? And we were like, so we said to the Japanese, we said, did you film all this? Did you film it? And he translated, the director translated to them, and he went, oh. And he was like, and I said, what? Didn't they film it? And he said, no. They were filming our faces. They thought we were doing the reenactment. We just had a stunning encounter of a number of things, and they were just filming our faces. They thought we were like getting all excited for the reenactment. Yeah. But that happened, and Stephen Greer was there, and that guy, Simeon Hine, who was there with the laser pointer, I took him out on a crop circle we made, and I said, look, you know, weird things happen. We see balls of light, things happen. He came out with us, and when we were there, we had a time shift where the sun was coming up, and we knew we weren't going to finish the crop circle in time. And I literally did one of my little sort of like, I was speaking to the universe in my head. I was like, we need more time, we need more time, we need more time, like that, right? And I remember looking up, and suddenly it was dark again, and we had another hour or so. The light came up again to where it was before. We'd had extra time, and he had there was a weird anomaly on his tape as well, because it's like the time on his tape or something had gone wrong on his tape. So I'd asked for extra time, and bang, we got extra time, because we knew that it's linear. You know, obviously when you see the sun coming up, it's linear and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. That's it.
It's going to
Yeah.
come.
So like, you know, I asked for extra time, and there was like a bing, like a moment, and suddenly everything was back dark again, and we had time to continue on making the circle. And that's not the only time weird shit like that's happened. You know, there's been a lot of stuff.
Refresh over that, like, just in case you went somewhere in that hour.
I mean, I think, you know, people, you know, it's weird, because I mean, I'm not saying that I don't believe, I'm not religious as in like biblical, but I believe in life after death. But it's kind of like all this stuff to do with, like, you know, when you set your intent and you ask and you're like putting energy out there, it's almost like praying. You know, it's like praying for something, and then things happen. And all I can say is, like, I've had some weird shit happen making crop circles. Very weird shit, quite a few times.
So what do you mean by weird shit? Like, explain.
Exactly.
Well, the time shift is one. Right? Another one was I was in my house, and I was not prepared at all to go making a crop circle, because I mean, you've got to be in the right mood. You've got to have a load of people, like, you know, you've got to have your mates are going to meet you, and you're going to take part in it, doing it together. So I was in the house. I had no intention of making a crop circle. It was getting like to about 11 o'clock at night. So therefore it's almost too late now, you know, to be starting, because by the time you get to the field, it's going to be midnight, you know, it's going to be too late. But I got this real urge came up in me. It was like, you must go out and make a crop circle. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do this. It's too late. I can't go bring in people. I mean, it's embarrassing. And they're like, come on, it's really late. Come now. People are going to tell you to piss off. They're going to go, no, I'm not going to do it. But I'm like, oh, I really, really feel like I got to make a crop circle now. Didn't have a design, didn't have any kind of like idea what I was going to do. So I went, I thought, well, I can do it by myself, which will mean I don't have the embarrassment of asking other people to come and do it. So I thought, well, how can I do it? And I thought, well, I can get one of my big camera tripods and I can weigh it down so that it will hold the weight, and that will act like a person. I can put the tape measure across to the tripod on the other side of the field, and then I can use that to scribe the circle if I'm careful. As long as it's not too big and it doesn't pull the tripod over, I can do it. So I'm like, I'm trying to work all this out, and I'm like, okay, right, I can do this. So I went to the field and I made a design, and whilst I was there, I could hear people. It sounded like they were singing and singing and playing a guitar, it sounded to me like. Wow. So I was like, shit, there's people really close by. I'm going to have to be careful, quiet. And I made this design. It took a while. And in the morning, because I'm kind of interested to know whether people, you know, have weird experiences and whether they know the circles there. This was right next to Avebury Stone Circle. So it's like an equivalent to Stonehenge. Okay. So it's like another stone circle. Like, yeah. But I did it down the road from this place, you know, and but I went to the pub, which is obviously a good hub for people talking about the experiences they've had. And I said, oh, does anybody know about any circles, any new circles? They said, oh, well, there was a weird circle appeared last night. And some people were up there and they were meditating on a design, and then it appeared right next to them. And I knew one of the people who was there. And I sought her out and I said, so what happened there then? And she said, oh, well, we were meditating on this flower design, and then it appeared a couple of 100 feet away from us. It's really crazy. And I'm like, wow. So I got the idea in my head to do the pattern that they were asking for in their meditation. But here's the funny thing. She said they were not singing and they were not playing guitars. They were silent the whole time they were there. But I got the impression there were people nearby, and I think it was to warn me. So I got the impression there are people there, they're singing and playing guitar. No, they weren't. No, they
Fucking
weren't.
crazy.
I was doing this thing, and they were quiet, and I was quiet.
That's
But
freaky.
I
You know, you bring something up that's really intriguing. Okay,
Yeah.
you know that, of course, is intriguing. But before the internet exploded, pubs and bars, and the stories that were told. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
But we're talking about an internet world. But I mean, what was it like beforehand? Do you guys remember what it was like before the net exploded for these kind of stories? We when you went in, because you said it was like a hub for people telling stories.
Pubs always are. I mean,
Yeah.
you call it, like, what do they call it? The canal telegraph.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the pub, it's almost like you find out immediately what's going on. If there's been an accident, if somebody's done something, if something's been stolen, everybody knows about it because everyone talks through the pub. It's like a hub of information. And now that hub has been taken up by things like Facebook and things like that. But
And that's why I'm intrigued by thinking about this beforehand, because I mean, people they congregate at these pubs, these local pubs. They sit down, have a few beers, and they chat. And there's no internet involved, even today. People are on the phones, but for the most part, people still go into these pubs and they chat. They say, "Oh, hey, man, I was over here and so and so happened. Did you see that? Oh, yeah. I heard about something, but I didn't know the details. What exactly happened?" And that intrigues me, because the stories that have come out of these pubs during the non-internet years, I mean, there's literally shitloads of them.
Yeah.
We used to have a network, like when before telephone, before the mobile phones.
Yeah.
It was raving like in 88 and 89. And we used to have a network. You had word of mouth.
Yep.
And it was actually people like that talking about it, and like there's a party going on now. It's underneath a bypass bridge. Oh, right, okay. And it's just literally word of mouth. That's I miss those days. Like, I miss word of mouth and just getting the general knowledge and using such a thing as a public phone.
Yeah. Right. Here's an interesting one. The guys who did South Park, Matt Parker and Trey Stone, they would have they got their donation to make their very first animation, which was a Christmas thing. Apparently, it was like a Christmas thing, and it was all South Parky. It was all the characters they had sort of mapped out in South Park, but it was done as a Christmas kind of thing. And it was, if I remember rightly, it was funded by this Japanese guy called Masao Maki, because he lived in.
Uh-oh. He's been temporal. There you are. You're back. Yeah.
Right. This guy called Masao Maki, who he paid money to these kids, these college kids, which were the South Park guys. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He paid money and funded them. Yeah. To kind of to get their animation done. And the animation included stuff that George Clooney chipped in. Masao Maki chipped in. A few people chipped in money to get these guys to do this thing. And because of it, George Clooney is included. There's messages for George Clooney in their very first animation. It's kind of like as a thank you. And anyway, this guy had a love of crop circles. So he'd made a pilgrimage to the UK to do crop circles. And he and a bunch of people, unbeknownst to me, had been sitting down, meditating, asking for a design to appear, right? And I'd gone out and done it again. I went out and did the design they were asking for.
Really?
Yeah. Now, when he heard about this, he flipped his shit. He was like, "No, this can't be real. This can't be real." And I had to convince him, I'm not trying to like fool you. I'm telling you, like, you have to understand that people are part of this magic. People are part of it. And he was he was kind of like a little bit upset and disturbed by it, you know, because he thought it was like God, you know. But I said, but maybe God works through people. That's the whole point, you know. It's like, you know, maybe we're supposed to listen, you know, and do things. Maybe this is what we're meant to do, you know. And I remember that guy. He's a really nice guy, but he wanted proof that we could do it. He wanted proof that we weren't lying. So he asked me to do his family crest, which was like a crop circle, and I did it. I did it for him, and I always remember he was a lovely bloke, but he was in tears because he realized, you know, we can do this shit in the dark. We can make a crop circle. You show us the design, we'll do it. That's it, in the dark. And he was in tears, and that's the guy who funded the South Park guys, Masao Maki, and he appears in all their movies, right? He's always there. He's always the Japanese guy in all their movies. He you know, if you have a look, that's him. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That is pretty neat.
So, you know, but people are asking questions. I mean, Goldie Hawn came down. She was asking about stuff, and we were having a campfire, and Goldie Hawn pulled up next to us in a car, you know, and I was like, oh my God, it's Goldie Hawn, shit. And she said, oh, well, who's making this stuff? And I said, well, and I thought, I can't lie to her because, you know, I like Goldie Hawn. I mean, you know, and I like her husband, you know, like, you know, Kurt Russell. I mean, I don't want to. I can't lie to these people, you know. And I said, well, it's people doing it, you know. And she got pissed off and drove away.
Outrageous.
Like, you know, I think she got upset because I think she wanted to just hear it was aliens, you know. So
yeah, it was aliens. It's always aliens. Blame it on the aliens. Yeah, we don't know where they're coming from. We don't know that they're there, but we'll blame them anyways.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to people who are big influencers, you know, like that, I think you have a responsibility to kind of try and help them understand, because, you know, they're going out there, you know, in the biggest sphere. I don't think she was kind of ready to hear that. So, but you know, I told her nonetheless, because, you know, that's how I felt. Sometimes I look at people and they're speaking to me and I think they're not ready to know. They don't need to know. So I kind of listen to them more than tell them what I know. I kind of listen to them more, and I go, yeah, you know, because they're not ready, because it's kind of like ruin their journey, you know, to kind of at that point. But, you know, it's weird. It's a weird one.
What alien race do you think is the most likely to actually exist? That's a loaded question, right?
Most likely or unlikely?
Most likely to exist. What do you think in terms of communication? The Greys, there's all sorts of them, right?
There's another one. There's another race.
Reptilians.
You got reptilians, yeah.
But it's another race that is like almost human-like, which means that which did
you say the Paladinians?
I think
Pleiadians, yeah.
Yeah. And apparently that they get a lot of their human look from abducting and using the seed.
Yeah. You get praying mantis, apparently. You get these like praying mantis aliens. Have you heard about them?
Oh, yeah, I've heard about mantis.
I mean, I think that some alien life might be so obscure that it would be really hard to kind of identify and define. I mean, it might be non-corporeal. It might be an energy form, you know, just something that kind of moves around, you know, and kind of you can't even see it.
That's the thing. I mean, we're obviously, and a lot of the universe is carbon based, but I mean, not everything is carbon. Barry goes panspermia again. But okay, let's bring this down a little bit.
Panspermia, tasty.
Yeah, you know
John's like I'm shaking his head.
No. Would you like to take take in these panspermia,
Panspermia milkshake. Come now.
Alpha
No.
Centauri aliens, he says. Out of anything that that exists on Earth, what do you think is most likely to be alien in nature?
That's deep on that.
I'd hate to think it was. I'd hate to think it was the spiders, because that's just like something out of the movie Aliens, and I'm just like, no, don't want that.
Octopus. What about octopuses?
Octopus, yeah, they're quite intelligent, aren't they?
No, with the amount of deep water that we've got in this world.
That's another thing. I mean, there's so much that we have not explored in the deep waters.
How true and real is the film The Abyss. I mean, that is a brilliant film and very, very plausible that they could have and they call it, what was it they used to call it? Unidentifiable submersible.
Yes, that's exactly it.
USOs, yeah.
USOs.
Zero foxes, no water bears, or
well, if you're into the sort of like stuff of Terence McKenna, apparently mushrooms and fungi are the largest living organism on the planet, and they can apparently communicate with each other, and maybe life exists not necessarily on the time scales that we're used to.
Exactly.
Because maybe we're expecting to kind of like ask a question, 2 seconds later you have an answer. I mean, there are life organisms that might take 100 years to formulate a question and 100 years to give you an answer. And literally in time scale, you could probably watch things going on in a time machine that would give you an idea. Well, look, that's a creature. It's walking across the landscape, but it's actually maybe a fungus. Maybe it's got the biggest brain on the planet is a fungi, and they can live in space as well. They can live as well as those tardigrades they're talking about in the chat. Yeah.
Damn fungi.
Yeah.
Always having the fun fungi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
fungi.
Yeah. It's but I mean, when you look at, I know we mentioned octopus, and octopus has been like the center of many people's thoughts that perhaps
I'd take any pussy I can get.
Yeah, octopussy. Octopussy.
Mr. Bond.
Yeah. Octopus. Yeah. Temporal says there may be life in the oceans of the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Well, yeah.
Jupiter, I mean, there's 2 moons in there.
Well, they had a percentage. I think they said. I don't know what the equation is, but apparently the equation is that there should be apparently 18 intelligent life forms or aliens, if you will, in the Milky Way, within the Milky Way alone, according to statistics. They would say 18 that they would say within this Milky Way alone. I don't know about that. I mean, if so, then where the fuck are they?
I mean, are the planets themselves sentient and the sun? There was a school of thought that used to believe that the universe is alive on an energetic level, and the suns themselves.
I would wholeheartedly believe that, because I mean, when you look at us as a whole, the planet, our genetic makeup, our DNA is in session with pretty much everything on this earth. Like pretty much anything that you dig up on this earth has a little bit of our DNA in it down the line. And that's why I could wholeheartedly believe what you said, Matt.
Yeah. Well, that's why the Chinese want to eat absolutely every single living thing on earth. Because it's probably because of that.
What about Europa? Because that's a Europa's every sort of interested in, but no one's wanting to go there. They're saying a lot about that, aren't they?
There were some photos released of a black hole recently.
Yeah, there's a
And massive black hole, and they actually took coordinate photos.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these coordinate photos and going, wow, this is just one section of a galaxy, a part of the universe, and we can never wrap our minds around the fucking the enormous sort of span of this thing. I mean, it's limitless in our way of thought. I mean, we could never think of finding or mapping this entire thing out. I really think that. It's just incredibly crazy.
Noises from it as well. Somebody did a recording up in space of what the sound of a black hole makes.
Yeah. But I mean, when you take a picture of the skies with the telescope and you look at all the stars and you go, wow, this is only one section of one little area of this entire universe. And you go, holy shit. Each one of those are a planet.
Well, tonight we're supposed to be having a what they call it, a moon eclipse tonight, wasn't it? There's supposed to be. It's the only time that you see the moon turn orange or something, or red.
Yeah.
When it happens. But of course, you can't see it at the moment because there's loads of clouds in the sky.
It's
There's weird beliefs that some sort of like organizations have, like the Aetherius Society, and they believe in alien life, and they believe that on a higher dimensional level, the moon is, kind of occupied, and Saturn and various planets are occupied by alien beings, but they're not on this frequency. They're not on our. We can't see them, and it's kind of like, well, I know it's very edge type thinking, but science as we know it now says that there are multiple dimensions. So therefore, there are different variations of me living, doing other things on this planet now, but you can't get to those frequencies. You can't get to those dimensions. But if you could, there's another me wandering around doing something. So there's alternate realities, I mean, where's alien life from? Is it necessarily from this time? Is it from this dimension? Aliens could be living on this planet right now, but we just can't see them because they're not on the right frequency that we are tuned into ourselves. Maybe they're here right now. And this is, I mean, a lot of people have kind of put something into this saying, UFOs, we think they come from galaxies far away. Maybe they're from right here. They're actually interdimensional. They're traveling across dimensions, but they're actually from here.
I think they just got the power to travel wherever they want. We haven't.
Well, it's insane to think of life beyond this planet, period. I mean,
every time I keep saying it's ignorant.
I remember seeing some footage of an apparent, I'm saying apparent, flyby of the moon of a NASA. I don't know which NASA it was, but which plane or sorry, which rocket or whatever else was there. But when you watch this, I remember watching this flyby, and you literally see what looks like a fucking structures on the moon.
Yeah,
and then
structures on the fucking moon.
This is on YouTube. And I'm like,
we are on the fucking moon. Jesus H. Christ in a fucking handbasket. We are on the fucking moon.
We're on the fucking moon.
We're on the fucking moon.
But realistically, seriously, the moon, structures on the moon.
Yeah.
By NASA that they're apparently hiding on us. Come on.
Another thing they just released in the last 2 days, and NASA has stumped.
Brad, I love you.
We need to get that clip up. It's like, you know, Jesus H. Christ in a
I gotta
fucking
get
handbasket. We're on the fucking moon.
We're on the fucking
fucking
moon.
moon.
There's
I can't fucking believe it.
a latest story that's just been released by somebody, and NASA are stumped because the rover picked it up on Mars, and there's apparently a doorway
Doorway. Yeah, I saw that.
carved into a rock face, and it's a proper sized door as well when you look into it. You know, and you think, what's that all about? Like, you know, and
Have
this
you
is on
seen
Mars.
that, man?
No, no.
It's actually really intriguing.
Released
I
it,
mean,
and
the naysayers are downplaying it, saying it's just, you know, just the rock formation. But I'm like, come on, really?
I really like this stuff. Have you seen the photos of the sun, which are taken with the special cameras, which you can see what's going on? You can see all the plumes and all that sort of stuff. There's shapes appearing, like satanic symbols and squares, like just perfect square and shit on the surface of the sun. It's almost like as if you're seeing the mind of the sun, or you seeing something. You know,
somebody,
it's like
somebody filmed something of the sun. Somebody taking something off the sun. They were near it, and there was a line coming off the sun.
It was coming off it, like as if it was recharging or something. Yeah,
themselves from it. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I think, you know, we're going to find out some interesting stuff in a few years to come. You know,
it needs to be done, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Tic Tac UFOs and all this sort of stuff. I mean, we got some big shit lined up. You know.
Yeah, but what do you think of those Tic Tac UFO videos? I mean, I got a lot of people saying, don't pay attention. They're just stupid.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you know, they're kind of prepared to say yes now, aren't they? They're prepared to say yes. I mean, it's almost like saying, you know, oh, Jesus is coming back. You know, oh, thousands of years, you know, we told you this is bullshit, but like, oh, he's coming back now. Yeah, folks, it's okay now. It's all right. We got photos of him. You know, it's okay. Like, it's pretty weird stuff, isn't it? I mean, it's either going to be some sort of technology that they're rolling out. They want to let us know, oh, we've got this, you know, kind of, we're kind of hidden it for years, or maybe it's something they don't have a handle on and they're actually being honest. I can't believe the governments are actually going to be that honest, but maybe they are stumped.
Sue actually has an interesting question. Here we go. Do you believe that we are God?
Many facets of the yes, I think maybe not as an individual person, but I think that together, you know, consciousness would make up something that would be akin to, you know, maybe a God type consciousness, but not on an individual level.
So it would take one individual who's smart enough to patch into this to be able to say, look, I need you all to follow me and do this. Right? Is that not a cult leader? In this day and age.
David Koresh.
Or you all
about spoon bending.
Yeah, spoon fun.
Yeah.
Charles Manson knows another one, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think we could probably get some weird shit happening if everybody on the planet was to focus on a thing. I think we could probably get some weird shit happening, and that's why the governments are kind of worried about the public getting together, not just on a physical level, but on a metaphysical level, you know, and kind of all trying to make something happen.
I think everybody should have a dresser, like, basically, and tell them to stop turning off the live feed whenever anything off.
That's why they always tell you don't, you know, when you have crowds, disperse them, because they know when you have people in numbers, you have strength. And this is the same thing with trying to get people on the same level intellectually to believe and to understand that, look, there is something going on that that has been hidden to you for years. But if you listen and see the evidence, that you will jump aboard and join us. Right? I mean, let's face it. There's tons of shit out there that has been hidden to us for years that we're waking up to. And I'm not talking about conspiracies. I mean, people will talk about conspiracies till they're, blue, purple in the face. But I mean, there are things out there that are in plain day that are available to us that most people will not even pay attention to. They won't even look into because no, that's just a conspiracy.
Well, it's the ignorance again. It comes.
Well,
down
that's
to,
the thing. It's the ignorance.
And it also comes down to the people above saying this isn't real, and people sort of gullibly go along with that. They go, oh well, probably it isn't real then. It needs more. It needs more things. I remember there was a bit of footage just come out a few months back on a Navy cruiser where somebody filmed a UFO, and it was on a military camera, and it got released, and there was hell of about it, because it's coming off a military.
You're talking about the Nimitz and the Tic Tac UFOs and the aircraft that were.
I just remember there was somebody on a big cruiser, and they were out in the middle of nowhere, and they're filming this thing, and it's just flying around, doing unbelievable things, and it's there, and it got released, and it even got put on ITV as well, apparently on the website. It was there, it's a lot of people sort of covering it up now, and saying it didn't happen, but typical smoke screen comes in after it's happened, what this.
Lee. Oh well, Trevor goes. The Branch Davidians were murdered by public sector workers.
Yeah.
And then Lee says, "You've watched The Secret, Matt."
I have watched it. I mean, I kind of believe that in some respects that's correct. What you should do is you should not dwell on the things that you don't want to have happen, which is like the shit that you think is going on in your life. What you should do is you should focus on what you want to have happen. Yeah. I think that is the basis of The Secret, is focus on where you're going and believe it to be real, and it's happening, and it will happen.
I think also the spiritual plane is another big thing as well.
Spiritual plane.
Yeah, I'm a big one on spiritual and spiritualism and the CNI.
I like to believe that people would look into a lot more into the metaphysical world. I think people really need to understand that, and the fact that this is not. We have been brought up and filtered into believing that the physical world is the only world that of our five senses or whatever else. It's the only thing that exists. But that's not the truth. I mean, let's face it. There are things that go on around us that we don't. That hence the metaphysical sort of, the non-physical sort of realm around us. And look at frequency. Frequency is a huge factor in understanding what is going around you, interacting with your body and so on and so on. People haven't got a fucking clue. They don't know how to patch into shit like that. Right? Because they've been conditioned into believing that, look, I'm human. The only thing that is real is tangible. I have to see it. I have to touch it. I have to smell it, whatever else. But you know what? There's much more to that than this. There really is.
Punisher says the lunar eclipse is happening right now.
Yeah, he was saying he was recording it. So
quantum physics.
Show us the live lunar eclipse.
Yeah, I wish we could see it. I got clouds in the sky over
clouds over here too.
Yeah. Quantum physics and quantum reality is saying, if you observe an experiment, you change it.
Yeah.
So therefore, the power of the human mind changes reality. So therefore, all bets are off. I think all bets are off. I mean, it's what people have been saying for a long time. If you interact with the universe through thought, through prayer, through intention. If you're thinking about somebody, it's weird how they ring the phone.
Yeah,
Telepathy,
exactly. Yeah.
telepathy. All these sorts of things. I totally believe in this stuff. I've had
I
experiences.
absolutely believe in it.
I've had experiences of it, and I'm in no doubt that we're connected on a much higher level, and we should
I
not
think we've all
be.
got it.
Absolutely, Lee.
All got it.
That's
We just
absolutely.
got to learn how to open it up. That's what it is.
And that leads us into something we said earlier, the afterlife, Matt. And this is where I do believe that, what, we are made of energy, frequency and energy. Energy is infinite. Our physical vessel passes away, it dies, but our energy lives on. And it transforms into however it does transform. But the fact is, it lives on. Us doing this right now, we are creating frequency that lives infinitely in cyberspace. Right? This constantly goes back and forth, never dies, because we are creating energy.
But not just cyberspace, but I mean, like actual space.
Actual space, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever you do in life, you're affecting other people around you.
Yep.
They're affecting you. I mean, if you want to know whether aliens are out there, just be asking that question. The universe will probably come to you and give you an answer, or you will draw that answer to you like a magnet, because it's what you're looking for. I mean, so many times I've been wondering about something, and then something has just come to me. I'm a big believer in it. I've met people in coincidental circumstances, which are just crazy.
Gambia asks, "Do you really think this, lads?" I really do think this. I really do believe that.
I'm not selling a book. I'm not selling anything. I mean, I'm not out here to kind of recruit you to my church, or like bring you into my fold. In fact, I shun that sort of bollocks. But I mean, it's kind of, find your own answers, but be open-minded, and don't, just be open-minded. You'll find the answers. They'll come to you.
I think deja vu's another good one as well. Like. I've had that a few times, like deja vu, like I've been somewhere before. Like, I've never been there.
I mean, let's face it. We, Yayu mentioned, where is it? Let me just pull up. Oh, we've got somebody coming in here. Mr. Howell. Hello, Mr. Howell. How are you?
Camera.
Mr. Howell, how are you? Are you howling at the moon? What are we looking at? It looks intriguing. Oh, is this Dan with the eclipse?
Yeah. Oh! Hang on. How do I figure out how to zoom in on the camera while I'm...
Jesus, Dan, like, what are you doing? Like, I think there's something weird. We're going to get a flash here in a minute, like,
He's trying to set...
I'm gonna get one more beer, and then that's it.
Okay, I can see the lamp right there. Yeah, obviously, it's in that dark space right there. Is where the moon is.
Is that what it is?
And yeah, I need to be able to zoom in, but I can't.
I see it. I see it.
Howl at the moon.
Yeah, you see it there. Hey, do you have cloud coverage there?
No, it's clear.
Is it clear? Okay, well, I do see something. I do.
It's very faint.
Yeah, it's just maybe tree. You see, there's that, right?
Yeah.
No,
it's very faint, mate.
Hang on,
Wait. I saw something there a second ago.
Oh, it's gone.
He's going for a better view.
Yeah, he needs to go outside.
hang on. Bear with me over here.
bear with you. All right.
Bear with me.
I'll have to
Absolutely.
go big screen on
Do
this.
some bear stuff.
Burn the systems.
We'll do some bear stuff.
It's like, you got green now. Like,
We got some infrared going here.
wow, man, what's happening here?
We got the telescope going. Oh, here we go.
Word,
That'll pick it right up if you
That was
grab
in
it.
that was like kind of in the pitch dark before, wasn't it?
yeah.
It was pitch dark.
Now we've got green.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Let's see if I can get it to.
You gotta get it on the
Let
fucking.
me look in the right area so I can get it lined up right. Okay, here we go.
Up from there.
Not easy. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
It's not easy to get this all lined up in the dark.
What
Come
kind
on.
of telescope is that?
It's just like it's a fire field.
Here we go.
Where are you, you son of a bitch? I still need to zoom in.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Trees in the way.
Wow, look at yeah.
Oh man, all we get.
Look, there's a tree. Yeah.
We get
Nice
is a
looking camera.
Can't fucking.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Maybe able to zoom in.
Try to
I need to
zoom
be
in
able
on-
to zoom in. It's like it's so red you can barely fucking see it.
So red.
Yeah.
You know, take a picture and then post a picture of it.
It's like fucking dark.
Oh well.
Let's see if I can see it through the.
Is that it there?
I wish you
Well,
could
it
see
is.
it.
Well, it is actually happening then, isn't it? There is a lunar eclipse, like, so we're halfway there.
How do I?
Folks, we have
Okay, how do I
have
zoom in?
our man on the seat here with our new lunar eclipse, and
The black zone.
Let me figure out how to.
EMS are on the way. You know, man on the scene of the incident.
Okay, you can still see that, right? You can see it zooming. Okay.
zooming.
Did it zoom in?
Oh, no, can't see
He said-
anything, mate.
He sounds very innocent and fragile when he's had a biff, doesn't he?
Can you see the biblical guy? Oh,
Oh,
biblically speaking, here, Dan.
Did it zoom in?
no, that's on the ground, man. That's somebody's windows.
We're on the ground now.
Can't see.
Yeah. Did it zoom in for a second there?
Just get
No.
up, man.
No.
Trying to figure out how to fucking control the damn camera while it's live.
I thought I saw lightning. Was I correct?
I thought I saw that too.
There are lightning bugs.
Mhm.
I don't know if is it dark right now because
It's dark, except for like a street light or something.
You've got
I don't know if you could.
A tree.
Yeah, there's like a double wide. There's a single wide trailer up there.
NH says, Dan, you're a peeping Tom.
Yeah.
I'm just used. It's the brightest thing I can see right here.
I know. I think you should give in, like, really.
I'm using it for reference.
Come on, John, don't give up so easy.
Go up from whatever you're filming at the moment. Go up in the sky. Oh, it's gone.
Oh, look, see, you scared him off. We'll have to get him. We'll have to get him to climb up on a tree there and grab it.
Climb up on your trailer, Dan.
You gotta love it. Hey, at least he tried. I mean, we weren't expecting that much, and we got that much, anyways.
Something really weird happening then, like for a minute.
That was weird, wasn't it? So where were we, guys? Before that,
what was it? Spiritualism and
Telepathy, remote viewing, perhaps, sort of
energy and energy transfer, us transferring our soul, whatever you want to look at it, however you want to look at it.
yeah.
I've been in another country and I was really ill and I sent out a telepathic message of like, I'm in distress, and somebody picked it up and they were like ringing around frantically going, Matt's in distress right now, and I sent it out consciously because I thought I'm actually quite near death here. I'm really quite bad. I was sent this like psychic alert, and I think that ancient man probably tuned into this a lot more than we kind of like to kind of give
when you had
credit for.
when you had that incident in the hospital just recently where you collapsed and almost nearly died, did you have anything happen to you in that those few minutes that you?
No, I don't remember it at all. I was like one minute I'm there, and it was literally like I felt kind of hazy, like I felt sort of and it was like bink out. And then next thing I come round and I sort of wake up and there's like a nurse going, are you okay? Can you see me? And I'm like, yeah. She said, where are you? And I said, and she said, do you know where you are? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in the hospital. And she's like, yeah. And I'm looking around and there's like loads of people in the room, So it's just like gone from being just like me with one person who's putting a needle in my arm to suddenly the room is full of people, So
that's
because I'd passed out and stopped breathing, so they got a recovery team in, and woke up and just everybody's just loads of people there. But I didn't remember anything else. Oh, here he is.
Yeah, sorry. Didn't go anywhere. Somebody said to you, it's not your time.
It didn't happen tonight. It didn't happen.
It's fucking Frank Zappa. He's arrived.
Frank Zappa.
I couldn't get the setup. I don't have the right setup to film the moon at all. It's not easy. Surprisingly, it's not easy to film the moon for. You think, you just point a camera at it? No.
So was that your?
Always a speck in there.
It's always a speck, even if you zoom in. It's just a big fuzzy speck.
Yeah. That was your web camera.
Is my what?
What camera were you using?
What camera were you using?
Oh, on your phone.
Yeah, but he had a night vision in front of it, I'm sure, didn't he?
Yeah, a night vision thing.
Yeah, he got night vision at one stage, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Look at that. Nice and fancy.
Is that a tube one? Isn't it? I think it's probably a tube one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks like
it's off. It's off, but it's on, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a tube one, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a tube in it. It's like a Gen 1. It's like a Gen 1. It's like it'll pick up starlight and stuff. It doesn't really pick up too much in the pitch dark. Like if you're just in a pitch, there's like no moonlight, just dark. You're not going to really see much better than your eyeballs are going to see, like once your eyes adjust. So it's not really. It's only for like spotting if you're hunting. Spotting animals at night, you can use like infrared, floodlight, and you can see fucking everything with these things, man. Even the cheap ones, you could just see fucking everything with it. IR floodlight.
Oh wow, look at that, like that.
Oh yeah.
That's got a widescreen LCD in it, and it's got a CCD on one side and an infrared transmitter on the other.
Yeah, those are pretty badass.
Look at that.
Nice.
That's a bit of kit, isn't it?
You would look at it. You will look at it.
Look at the light.
You will look at it.
Here's me. I think these are Gen 3. These ones.
Oh, those are nice.
That's a nice one.
Mine's this is cheap. I got this for cheap.
Yeah. PVS 14. This is American military standard issue.
Yeah,
that's badass.
I was gonna grab a military. I'm like, holy shit, the difference in price.
Yeah, massive.
Oh shush! Oh my gosh!
So your cat's going meow meow meow.
He's very abusive towards me.
Very animated.
Sorry to be obtuse, everybody. We were getting all cerebral and all that. But what's your cat called, by the way, Mr. John? Oh, sorry, Punches, is it?
Punches. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Whose cat was making the noise then?
That was my cat.
Oh.
His noise all the time. Mine just sits on my lap asleep. Like his makes noise.
Yeah,
Right.
mine freaks out when he's
I
wants-
sometimes wonder if he's just hearing my voice, like, and he meows when he hears my voice. I don't know.
So what are your pussycats called then? Because I don't know.
Well, mine's called Ruggy, Rugrat, because he's a
Rug-
carpet.
Come here,
Rugrat.
Yeah,
pussycat, come here.
and his is called Punk. Is it Punk? You call yours?
Yeah, punk. Yeah, punk.
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 But he's quite vocal, and he's like,
Yeah, he just screams and screams. I want something. I want something. I just fed him. He's got water. His cat thing is fine.
yeah,
It's
he's
just
a big cat
I gotta
too, isn't he?
freak out.
Come on, tonight, like, and he was howling,
Yeah.
right? And I'm
That's a
thinking,
big
what
cat.
what the fuck's wrong with him? Why is he howling? He had a mouse in the house with him. Mouse, I'm like, bloody hellfire! Like, what am I gonna do with that? If it runs off, it's in the house. I'll never get the damn thing out. Like, you know.
Mm.
Oh,
Next thing you know, it'd be in behind the wall, like eating all the wires. Like, you know.
Quick. Hide your cat. There's people in chat that want them.
in the bathroom.
That cat is massive. Yeah, it is.
It is a big cat, that isn't it?
It's well fed, that cat.
He's only 16. He's what?
Mine's very little, and he's
Like 8. He's like 8
very
kilos.
asleep at the moment, like he's dead to the wind. He's a very small cat, like, but he's a
Oh.
walking carpet.
How old's your cat,
Yeah.
John?
I think he's about 6 now, 7 years of age.
Mm.
Yeah.
Dan, how old's your cat?
12.
Oh. See, my cat, we called him Goblin. He was he was quite the adventurous cat. He was just mainly a house cat, but he lived to be 13 years old, I think.
Yeah, my first black cat lived to 13. My second black cat, he died at 9. He had to be put to sleep.
Yeah.
And this one's like, he's lasting like, he's 6 years, 7 years of age. I didn't have him from a baby. I had him given to me because the guy who had him was in the Navy, and he couldn't look after him. So he instead of getting rid of him, he gave the cat to me. So yeah, and he came in when I still had Joe, like the other black cat. And they both didn't get on. They both hated each other, and then Joe, in his eyes, Joe disappeared. Like, and then he sort of like come his own in the last couple of years. I sometimes wonder if Joe stepped in him sometimes, like, because he's a lot more friendly than what he used to be, and he tends to come and try and sit up in my arm as well up here, which is what Joe used to do a lot of.
Matt, how you holding out there, man? What time is it there? It's
It's 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Somebody asked, is my PVS white or green? It's green. It's a standard green. Hello.
What do you got? Some blue light. What the hell is that?
What's that?
Like,
Chlamydia.
Chlamydia. Chlamydia.
chill out. It's a southern thing. It's like
Share it with your friends. Somebody be a close social group. Yeah.
Budweiser brought on out like, yeah, you can have.
Start the car, drink fresh. What the hell's that? That's a bit of a weird message. It's start the car and drink now. Drink now, drive, drink, drive now.
Drink, drive, yeah. I would drink, I would drive.
drink driving. Drunk driving. I wasn't drunk driving, officer. I was drink driving. There's a difference.
Well, the thing is with you, like, if they did a blood test on you, like, you would be drunk driving.
Belligerent driving.
Oh, chocolate lab. I had a chocolate lab. Yeah, my chocolate lab lived to about 13 years of age and full of cancer, but like it had a few operations, take all the cancers out. But yeah, they're good troopers. I love Labradors.
Yeah, the black
Labradors are so nice. They are just the loveliest dogs. Yeah. Sounded like you stepped on it. And it was like, wait.
He's just like at my feet, and I'm like scratching him, and he's just like making fucking noises and shit.
I had one. I had a couple of days ago. He nearly tripped me over in mid walk, like he just appeared out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa, fucking hell.
I don't know. I remember one time I left work and I came home, and you know, I was working nights. I got home about 2:00 in the morning, and this is God, I don't know, about 12, 15 years ago, and you know, I was just surfing the net, just mindlessly in the dark, the only light, and my cat Goblin, he was just lying, sleeping on a mat, on the mat in the in the doorway. And then all of a sudden there's this huge flash of light, like a burst, implosion of light. And my cat was up on all fours looking straight up where the light was coming from. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Because I know I'm not crazy, because my cat noticed that. What the hell? And I looked into everything and I could not figure out what it was. You know, I thought, okay, maybe the bulb burst, or, whatever. But no, I
confused. Right? No word of a light. I had a shoot of light go across and it caught my eye in the house. It was like just across the room. I was like, what the what's that?
That's one thing I forgot to do about this thing is it says on the bottom right there on that label, it says made in Russia. It's the real tube, you know, it's got tube, you know, the real valves in it.
Got tubes in there, man.
Tubes, man. What's the tubes?
Tubia.
Russia. He's got the American ones, and I've got the $200 Russian one.
Mine's fucking Chinese.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, Russia? It's not Chinese. That's kind of surprising.
What the fuck's going on there? Like,
it's got the tubes in it. That they're making the tubes.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I think we're gonna call this.
Okay.
And
fair shout.
You know what, Matt? Thank you for coming on. John, always great to have you, buddy, and thank you, Dan, for coming in. We'll do this again, I'm sure, soon, and always great. And Matt, keep up the great job there with Secret Vault. Once again, let everyone know. I know they know where to go, but go ahead, tell everyone.
Just get a quick one in before you go off. You just posted one up. You posted a video up.
Come on, folks. You know you want it. Secret Vault with no spaces between them. The Secret Vault.
Anyway,
awesome, sorry. I don't know.
Fine.
These jokes go down well in the States. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Too quickly before you go.
Well, down in the States, in Canada, fuck, they think everything is a joke.
He's not the Messiah.
What? Matt's the Messiah? Matt, what would you say? Matt's the Messiah?
He's not the Messiah. He's a naughty boy.
I'm a pariah. Not the Messiah.
Guys, take care and thank you, man. Really appreciate you guys coming on. Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Excellent.
Thanks for
everybody. Take care. Have a good night.
Catch you soon.
All the best.